Welcome, Clyde Lewis listeners. Stick around. It is Trucker Tuesday night. Do not go anywhere. We got a great show planned for you.
The mothership has landed. Hollywood has all the voices of pirate radio. Welcome to the jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low-rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern...
CPR Street Gang, this is our mighty. Standing by, over. CPR Street Gang, this is our mighty. Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines...
Clocks run out. Time's up.
Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken hearts, a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
Breaker 19, this here's a rubber duck. You got a copy on me, Big Ben? Come on. Yeah, 10-4, Big Ben, for sure. By golly, it's clean clear to Flagtown. Come on. Yeah, it's a big 10-4 there, Big Ben. Yeah, we definitely got the front door, good buddy. Mercy sakes alive, it looks like we've got us a convoy.
My name's Jimmy. It's Trucker Tuesday night. Looks like we got ourselves a convoy. Breaker 19 coming at you right here in the microcosm as on the eye.
For those of you who don't know, Vic's father is a doctor who recently lost his medical license for having sex with several of his patients, which is a darn shame because he was one of the best veterinarians in Pasadena. You know, it really is. I guess when a waiter walks up to his table, it gives a whole new meaning to the question, Doc, have you tried the chicken?
Or Don Barnhart.
Here's the deal. I don't feel that I'm getting older, but I know that I am, and I'll give you an example. It's my drug awareness references are falling off the bell curve. I don't know what's what or who's who anymore, right? I go to a club the other night, and I'm dancing with a girl, and she's like, hey, woo! I'm like, are you having a seizure or what? She goes, do you want to roll? I'm like, yeah, I got a car. Let's go. She goes, I need to leave. She goes, do you want to do some X? I'm like, what's that? She goes, ecstasy. It's a little drug that's going to make you want to have sex more. Really? I'm a guy.
The exploding Irishman.
You give me a Tic Tac.
With a very short fuse. The exploding Irishman. A walking stick of dynamite. With a very short fuse. Rub him the wrong way, and he'll go off in your face. Duck, you sucker. Together, they'll blow you apart.
Journeyman. Oh, yeah.
I am here.
Excellent.
Trucking on down the one highway we have.
You got a highway over there. Now, do they have... Hold on a second. Do they have semis over on the islands?
They do, especially like on Kona, man. Kona, they have them everywhere on all the islands, but Kona's got a big, long road and a lot of trucks on it, man. Not like it is on the mainland, but
hopefully
it's an island.
Well, hopefully we're gonna get some Hawaiian truckers calling in tonight, man. I mean, I don't think I'm honestly, until the moment you mentioned it, I've never actually even conceptualized 18-wheelers in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, big time.
That's wild, man. It just seems like, I don't know, they just seem like, I don't know, they just don't seem like they would be there, but I guess they are. Hey, there are so many, literally, it's literally out of control with some of the great stuff that's out there for truckers. Like, I was just playing some comedy from a CD called Ernie Schill, Truckers Gone Wild. It's over on the Laughing Hyena channel. You can check that out. If you're a trucker tonight, give us a call. We are reaching out to truckers. We know the truckers are the backbone of the country, and without truckers, nothing moves. And that's the way that goes. And so we really feel strongly truckers are our best and ally in this fight that we're going through here. If the truckers decided not to truck, epic. How long would it take for civilization to drop into nothingness? Because, I mean, seriously, without trucks, nothing moves, does it? I mean, unless you got horse and buggies.
No, the whole transportation industry in general. I mean, people think of the Teamsters as, for example, being this like, Jimmy Hoffa kind of thing, but they unload the actual steamer, cargo ships, and they run the trucks across the country and unload stuff in the warehouses.
New collect your favorite.
It's not just a warehouse. I mean, that's not today. It's a union thing. That's true. I'm just saying, like that whole industry itself, is something that people take for granted. Logistics is huge. Without logistics, America wouldn't have won the war, and they wouldn't have the country we wouldn't have the country we have today.
No, that's true. And, that's actually a job you can get when you're in the service. A lot of guys are in the service. They go, you know what, I'm going to drive a truck. And then, boom, when they come out, they got to think they got something to do. Miles, fall under the truck and you just keep going, keep going and keep going. And if you got nothing to do but sit there and think, you like to think, you like to stare through the glass and just keep on driving. I know I do. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time, because I was in the cell phone industry. Of course, I, do a lot of driving, a lot of traveling around to different sites all over the place, rural sites, urban sites on the top of mountains, everywhere. So driving all over the place, face of the earth, including Nevada. Nevada is one of the places. And, when you're driving, you ever notice you'll see, like, the roads will be shit. You'll be driving and you'll be dodging potholes. It's like, it's just a shitty road. And you're in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And then all of a sudden, the roads get smooth and nice. And that, my friend, is how you know you're in the vicinity of a facility that out there in the desert that nobody can see. Because they make sure that the roads that these semis are traveling on that are carrying these different things that go in and out of these, facilities that are out in the middle of the desert that you can't see from the main road. Who knows what goes on out there, Evan? I know this. They're concerned about not going over any potholes when they're going in and out of there. So these roads, and then you'll as you get far enough away from the facility, the roads will turn back into shit again. And you won't see any more of those nice smooth roads until the next weird desert facility that you come upon. Have you ever experienced what I'm talking about? Driving through
yes, I have actually. And you'll notice that those smooth roads that seem to go nowhere are oftentimes at the nexus of a railroad track, right, where they could unload that stuff that's on the rail car and put it on the big semi that we're not supposed to see at 3 a.m. and take it to wherever it's supposed to go. And the thing is, like, some of those places, like if you're going to China Lake, Ridgecrest, I think it's on the 395. That might be wrong. One of the subscribers can correct us.
Yeah.
But there's this, it's like a roller coaster, man. It's a smooth road, but it's got all these hills in it, these dips that, you can only drive so fast without, catching air, man. Dukes of Hazzard style, And it's a blast. One thing to keep you awake when you're driving on a straight road like that, but you got to imagine on the semis that must be a real trip. They can't go very fast,
Well, I'll just say this, man. I mean, my family was Teamsters on the East Coast, and at one point I was a Teamster. I drove a truck, but not an 18-wheeler. I was driving a refrigerated vehicle for restaurant supplies or whatnot. But I've driven up to I've driven everything that's connected to one truck. I can drive up to the biggest one, which is I think 40 feet or something. I forget what it is, how many feet it is, 35 feet, I don't know. Anyway, this one time when I was going to Los Angeles for an audition and my car broke down and I ended up having to hitchhike there, we got a ride from this, where I was just sitting in Denny's talking to my buddy. I'm just going, man, fuck. I really wanted to go to that audition, man. There's no way we're going to make it now. And this dude sitting next to me goes, where are you guys going? And I go, we're going to Los Angeles. He goes, I'm making a run down to Los Angeles right now. You guys can jump in the truck with me. I'll take you guys down there. Yeah.
Yeah, those diner connections, right? I mean, a truck stop is like I'm telling you, it is unique among all things. And you hear more stories. People go to the coffee shops and go to Starbucks or whatever with their iPad and their laptop and try to get stories off of people who are not thinking about what they're saying there, to get inspired. You want to get inspired, go to a truck stop at 12:30 a.m.
I'm about to inspire your ass right now with the very story that this truck driver told me on my way to Los Angeles.
Awesome.
What he told me was, he's like, yeah, Jimmy, so, there's lots of new people coming in, trucking industry every day, they're out training, and he goes, what happens is a lot of these guys, looks like we're getting a call, stand by. Looks like, he says a lot of these guys that come in and they're new to the country and they're learning how to, they want to, get something going for themselves. Can you mute yourself up, please? Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of something. Stand by. So, anyhow, there we go. So, anyway, so what he's telling me is he says, well, Jimmy, if you want to be a truck driver, you can just go, there's a lot of ways you can be one. There's companies that'll pay for your training. They'll, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so he starts going into quite a bit about trucking. But one of the things that I thought was the most interesting, and just specifically because, at the time I wasn't in my car, but typically I was driving all over the place, going here and there, like I said. So he tells me that most of these dudes that come from other countries that come here to get, they're here and they're working and they're trying to get, down the road, become citizens. He says that a lot of them go out and, get these truck driving schools to get their licenses. And he said that they just churn these dudes out when they've never even driven on a hill, hardly at all. So, when he told me this, it totally, I was having flashbacks of like being on super steep roads with these dudes and these trucks with just smoke in their brakes, dude. You know what I mean? And then when we get some guys on, and we got a caller on now, we'll start finding out a little bit what happens, man. Because like when the brakes get hot enough, then they turn into, basic. What happens to them, Epic? Scientifically, when the brakes on a semi get too hot, what happens to them? And then we'll go to our call.
Two things. Well, one is it can seize up because they expand, right? And the other one is that the pads and everything wear out. And you have no brakes anymore.
They disintegrate.
Yeah.
They disintegrate. And that's why you see, ladies and gentlemen, when you're driving down the road and you see those runaway truck ramps, because when your brakes all of a sudden smoke out, you're gone, and you got no brakes, the only way you're going to stop is to coast until you can just coast off that thing and hit that runaway truck ramp, man. But I can't imagine what it would be like going, as fast as you could with a load of logs behind you, a load of big giant trees or something else behind you, that if you hit head on, that all that shit is from behind you is going to come forward and smash you like a bug. Well, let's find out who this caller is. Caller, who are you and where are you calling from?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Trucker Gerald. How you doing, buddy?
Hey,
I
I'm
like
doing.
your show.
Hey,
I listen all the time.
Hey, great, Chucker Daryl. Let me get you on Skype though, man, so you don't have to come in all squeaky like that. Can I get you on Skype, or do you have to be on your phone?
Yeah, you can call me back on Skype.
Let me get you on Skype, bro. This is a lot better. The way we can hear what you're saying. So there's Trucker Gerald, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be joining us tonight, and he's going to help us out with this discussion. And also, Way Cool Snoopy's supposed to get back to us too. I'm not sure if he's on a run or something happened to him where he had to, I sent him a couple of emails today. So Way Cool, if you're out there, bro, give us a call. And anybody else who wants to give us a call, 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761. I'm gonna pick up Trucker Gerald right now, and we are gonna. While we're doing that, I think what it will do is we'll play a little bit of music. How's that sound, Epic? Sound good? So you don't have to listen to the sound of the call making. I hate that Skype sound. Literally, I can hear it through walls. I swear to God, man, that sound, that ringing. I wonder how long they sat in the laboratories and designed that ring. You know what I mean? That ring goes through walls, bro.
It's the best alarm there ever is, man. I'm telling you right now.
All right, let's get Trucker Gerald, man. Let's quit hacking around. But I do want to talk about that break thing, because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to be sitting there. Do you remember a movie called Duel with Dennis Weaver?
I absolutely do, and it's the first movie that Steven Spielberg created, and is a TV movie that made him famous, actually.
Let's talk about that when Gerald gets on. My name is Jimmy. It's Aftermath.fm. This ain't your granddaddy's late night. This is the Trucker Network. Eyes, ears, everywhere, all across the country. Without them, there wouldn't be an America. God bless them. Here's the Outlaws. Green grass and high tides. My name's Jimmy. It's Aftermath.fm. Trucker Gerald, are you there? I can't hear you, Trucker Gerald. You're muted.
Yep, 10-4, I am here.
Excellente. Well, howdy do, man. It's good to see you. Good to meet you. Good to have you. And welcome into the Microcosm, brother. We really appreciate you being here tonight, because we think it's an important. Yeah, we think it's an important situation. Now, you sound kind of. Are you on a speaker or something?
I'm on Bluetooth. I'm driving. So
oh, you're driving? That's cool. No, just as long as you're good. Let me just try to get you in here. Let me get you sound up here so I can get you queued up so we can hear you. So,
okay.
we just think that trucking is such an important industry in America. It's been the backbone of America and for such a long time. And we think the truckers really get it. They don't get to really have a platform to really talk as much, in the open air where people can hear them. And, I think the truckers have a great perspective about what's actually going on in America. They can actually see what's happening and, through the glass, on the ground, talking to people. Because, when you're trucking, you're moving, you're in this town today, you're in another town tomorrow. You're constantly meeting people, coming in contact with people and just talking and hearing what's going on. So I don't think there's anybody in America who really knows more about what's going on in America than truckers. And Trucker Gerald, I've listened to your show many times. I've heard you on many roundtables, and you're just you're a wealth of information in a lot of areas. But tonight, I really want to delve into the trucker aspect of you specifically, because I think things are changing in trucking, and at some point, we can get into it maybe a little bit later, but how things are migrating to where maybe truckers will be babysitting trucks that are driving themselves, and you know what I mean. So welcome, Trucker Joel, and give us a little bit of an insight into how much trucking experience you have, maybe how long you've been on the road, and maybe if you've had any major accidents or anything that you could tell us about that might give some insight into your experience as being a trucker.
Yeah, 10-4. Thank you for having me. And I've been driving a truck for over 20 years, and I've got about 2.5 million miles under my belt. I've got one minor accident in all that time. So, yeah, I've been everywhere. I've been all over the United States. I've been all over Canada. Yeah, like I say, 2.5 million miles, and I meet a lot of people. So, and trucking is I tell you, not anybody can be a truck driver. I mean, people think you just get behind the wheel and drive. I mean, no, you got to watch out for these crazy people on cell phones that, try to watch movies while they're driving and falling asleep, drunk drivers. I mean, you name it. And then you got to worry about truck restrictions. There's so many little towns with truck restrictions and low bridges, and I mean, it's a hazard everywhere you go, and you really got to be alert and pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, how did you get into it originally, though? Were you driving a truck in the military?
No. Me and my wife owned a small business. We owned like 5 small businesses, and then we sold everything. And then the wife, she just went and started, just doing her little thing. And then I said, hey, I'm going to drive a truck for a while. So I've been doing it for over 20 years and still going at it. Wow.
Well, I thought about it for a minute. And I watched a bunch of videos, which were really informative, because it wasn't videos of trucking companies trying to entice you to come on down and get your license and drive for them. These were videos that truckers were making about being truckers. And, and let me just say, when I was watching them, I made sure I watched quite a bit of them so that I had an actual idea of what I was getting myself into. And after watching them, I decided there's no way in hell that I would ever be a trucker, man, because I would not be able to deal with what you guys have to deal with, man. I mean, just seeing dudes making a run from Oregon down to California, where there's a freak ass snowstorm, and the dude's he's got to get there. He's got to go through this. He's got to drive through this, high wind, ice, all this shit. And his GPS told him to go this way, and he went that way, but then when he got there was a bridge that was too low, and now he couldn't go under the bridge, and it was not enough road for him to turn himself around, so he got stuck. And he froze to death out in the tundra. No, he didn't freeze to death, but you see what I mean? It's like that, some guy, all he's trying to do is put some food on the table for his family and, try to go from point A to point B. And all these things that have nothing to do with him all of a sudden become major obstacles, to the point where I would compare being a trucker going on a run. I would equate it to being a pirate on a ship floating around in the ocean from, mission to mission. Because I mean, you don't know. I mean, when those guys sailed off, they didn't know what was going to happen. You don't know when you leave your house in the morning on your truck. You don't know what's going to happen between then. It's like an adventure. Like when you make it back home, when you finally come home, pull in the driveway, turn off the key, and just like stretch it out. You know. I mean, you could have died a million times that day, and you didn't. You made it home, and every day that you make it home is a miracle, man. Seriously, with what truckers have to do, go through, what they have to drive and do, and everything. Literally, it's a miracle if you make it home. And every day that you do, that's one more day you got, right? One day at a time. So how do you do it one day at a time, man? I mean, how many hours do you spend behind the wheel?
Normally, it's anywhere between 10 and 14 hours a day. And that's not total. That's work time. You know, that's not a drive. We're only allowed to drive 11 hours a day. So, but usually I'm in the truck between 10 and 14 hours a day. And yeah, I was talking about that on my show a couple of weeks ago about drivers. They hire so many drivers that don't know how to read a map. See, I carry a road atlas in my truck at all times. You got to look at your destination, and you got to figure out your route. You can't rely on a GPS. Now, I use one, but I do not rely on it. I mean, I just use it as a reference because GPS can get you in a lot of trouble, and this happened over and over.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen that, you know, that collapse, that bridge, you know, way out there, and man, that was all over the news.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these drivers, I mean, if the GPS system was to go out today, I bet 70% of the drivers would quit driving because they would not be able to function without a GPS. It's crazy. I mean, people, that's back when I started trucking, that's the first thing they did. They put you in the classroom and made sure that you knew how to read them out. I mean, these drivers, they don't know how to read them out nowadays.
No, but I mean, the cockpit of these trucks, though, it looks like a spaceship now, doesn't it? I mean, some of these newer rigs, I mean, you're in there, man. They got cameras everywhere. You know what I mean? You got compute, you got SatLink. You know, you guys got all this stuff going on. Plus, you know, I mean, some of the back ends of those trucks, the living quarters, I mean, they're really not too bad. I mean, if you've ever been on a boat, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of like being on a boat. You know, you just got to keep everything in its place. You know, one thing's out of place and the whole truck's a mess, right? But so let me ask you now, as far as loads go, people aren't really hip to what goes on with trucks and loads. So one of the things that I found really interesting was how clean your truck has to be for example, dog food. If you're going to move dog food in your trailer, it has to have a certain cleanliness to it. While on the other hand, other things that like people eat, you could haul manure in your truck one way, in a trailer one way, and then not even really clean it out too bad, and then just throw in some more shit, some foodstuffs, and then they can be in the trailer. But you couldn't do that kind of thing with dog food. Is that true with some of these health standards that they have as far as what you keep in trailers and how you move it?
Oh yeah, a lot of these places, they will make you wash out your truck and trailer and sweep it out and everything. They'll make you do a truck wash before you get loaded. So yeah, that is very important.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about, have you ever had any loads of bottled water in the back of your truck?
Oh yeah, I've hauled everything. Yeah, I've done it.
All right, so let me ask you this. Now, when you're hauling that water in them trailers, is it refrigerated?
No.
So how hot does it get inside a trailer when you're going down the road and say you're in, let's call it 90 degrees outside and super hot, there's super sun beating down on you. How hot does it get back there with those bottles of water in there?
Well, usually it's something like that. They've got vents on the trailer, so you just open the vents in the front and the back, and then actually that's that pretty cool air. It keeps that trailer pretty cool. So I mean, as long as you don't stop for long periods of time, yeah, that trailer is pretty cool.
All right, well, good. You just dispelled an urban myth, which is that those truck trailers are 180 degrees, and when they are, the BPA or the bisphenol A in the plastic is leaching into the water, and it's mimicking female hormones, and that's why everyone's feminine now. So you just shot a hole in a big urban legend. Thank you, Gerald. Appreciate it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You just found out. So there you go, Epic Journeyman. Why don't you come on in and meet
I
Trucker
got a comment about those water bottles.
Go ahead.
I talked about it a little bit before, but in Iraq, what had happened was they didn't have the vented containers, right? So they had refrigerator cars. In the refrigerator cars, they stopped refrigerating, of course, because they ran out of coolant and stuff like that. And so on the base that I was on, we had this giant, it looked like a pyramid that was like about 100 feet tall. I'm not even exaggerating. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating slightly. It was about 70 feet tall. And it was just this pyramid of water bottles. It was huge. It was like 70 feet tall. And it was probably, going down to the base, it probably covered about 200 feet, so the better part of a football field, not quite, well, better, yeah, pretty close to the 70-yard line or whatever. And I'll tell you, man, it was just nothing but water bottles. And every day you go out there and look at this growing bottled water monument to ridiculousness, right? Because there are all these little 1 liter water bottles. And as they stay out there in the sun, it gets hot out there. It gets 130 degrees out there in the middle of the dirt, in the summer. And so they'd just be like these giant magnifying glasses shining through the bottles, right, on the bottles beneath them. And sometimes some of them burst and sometimes they wouldn't. And it's just the weirdest thing, to see. And it's incredible waste, because what they were a lot of them were things people sent over to the troops. They weren't things the troops ordered. It was people like back home that sent them these water bottles, like these things from Costco or whatever, like, yeah, you're going to want these water bottles and this toothpaste, And so they then ended up just throwing them out there in this field. And, it's just a weird remembrance I have about that, It doesn't really tie into the truck thing, except that that's what happened. They weren't refrigerated.
That is crazy. Well, listen, what I'm going to do, Trucker Gerald, is I'm going to open up these phone lines here. Let me come over here and get to the key to the vault, so we can open up these lines, because I want to hear from truckers tonight. I want to hear from people that want to talk to truckers. I want to hear anything you guys have to say about the backbone of America, because I think it's time we pay truckers a little respect for everything that they do. Like I said, man, every day they make it home alive is, I'm telling you, man, it's like a pirate adventure on a ship. You're venturing out into the ocean, the sea of idiocy. And the things that people do. They don't. Trucker Gerald, how long does it take for a truck going 60 miles an hour to come to a complete stop?
It takes about 130 feet.
So, it's not a good idea to jam your brakes on in front of a truck to be smart or to be an asshole or whatever people do that for. Is it?
Well, you'd be surprised how many people cut me off and slam on the brakes. I mean, that's what we got to watch out for all the time. That's why we've got to be alert at all times, and we got to look for red flags like that. Because remember, these trucks have multi-million-dollar insurance policies on them, and people know that. So they want to get hit. They want to get in an accident with a big truck because they know they will win. Because these truckers, they can't afford to go. I mean, they can, but they'll just rather pay it out than go to court and fight it.
Yeah. Wow.
If they live.
Yeah. If they live. Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen some, obviously I haven't been on, 2 million plus miles is literally out of control, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot of miles, man. All right, let's open up these phones. 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761. Any healthy truck ride always has to have a little willy going on. You know what I mean? My name's Jimmy. That's Trucker Gerald over there. That's Epic Journeyman right there. And it's Trucker Tuesday.
Is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again, going places that I've never been, seeing things that I may never see again. I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again.
There we go. All right, caller. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What are you driving?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, brother. You're on the air. What are you driving?
It's Way Cool Snoopy.
Hey, Way Cool. What's going on?
2020 Freightliner.
Nice. Are you driving tonight, bro?
Well, I'm stopped right now, but I have been driving.
Oh, good.
I'm in Iowa.
Good. Now, have you ever met? Do you know Trucker Gerald?
I don't.
Well, let me
listening to him.
Yeah, let me introduce you.
Sounds like he's got his own show too, so
yeah,
I
have
to check that out.
Yeah, he's definitely a broadcaster in his own right. But tonight we were talking about trucks, and he talks truck on his show, but he also goes everywhere else too. You get political and you go into a whole bunch of different stuff, don't you, Gerald? I think he's there.
Yeah, 10-4. Yeah, I talk about a little bit of everything. And there's so many things to talk about, but yeah.
Yeah. So this is Way Cool Snoopy over here. He's one of our regular callers, and he's also a trucker, and he's got his own independent rig that he rolls on. And so welcome, Way Cool. Jump in, brother, and let's get conversation going.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting listening to Trucker Gerald, because many of his comments I would echo 100%. As far as the skill level of the new drivers coming in, the people that they essentially are coming from places where they don't have roads, and they're doing a 3-week crash course, and now they're driving an 18-wheeler, and it's a difficult situation. The trucking industry is going through a lot of turmoil as far as demographics. There's arguably a driver shortage, but people like me would argue against that, because if there really was a driver shortage, you would see rates go up like everything else in supply and demand. Usually when the demand exceeds supply, the price goes up until those things come into parity. So, there's a lot of problems. The thing that's really going on in the trucking industry right now is the trucker is being replaced by the CDL driver. And those two terms are mutually exclusive.
Well, yeah, explain.
All truckers have CDLs, but not all CDL drivers are truckers.
Yeah, we'll explain that.
Well, so a trucker is somebody who, you have a passion for the vocation. You like trucks. You understand how the trucks work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what your engine is in your truck and your transmission. You enjoy those kinds of things. And so you pursue it as a passion, and the whole trucking takes on it's a different level. And so you have a commitment to safety, and you have a commitment to pride in your ride. My stuff's always shining, it's always bright.
Right.
It's always, but those things are for safety as well as for show off, because people don't pay attention anymore. Just like Trucker Gerald said, everybody's on their cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm going down the interstate, I look over to my right, and I see 3 cars coming on the on-ramp, and all 3 of them have their head down, staring at their black mirror. I'm thinking they're not paying attention to me. They think I'm just going to get over for them, even though they're supposed to yield to me. So he's right. It's a constant vigilance, and I've been in this now for I'm at about 30 years, about 3 million miles.
Wow.
And it's never been as dangerous as it is now. So despite the fact of all the safety innovations and technology that we have, in my mind, trucking has never been more dangerous because of the distracted driving.
Dude.
So Snoopy, this ties into what we were talking about last night. I don't know if you were listening last night, if you caught that show, but
I missed part of it. No, I missed a lot of it.
Go ahead.
Well, it's an obscure thing, but we were talking briefly about how people are in a state of cognitive dissonance and they're distracted. They can only focus on one thing at a time because it's a musical chairs. It's like electronic musical chairs, right? But it's not just electronics. It's in general. Everybody's distracted to the point where they're spun. That was the term I used. Everybody's spun. They can only focus on one thing at a time.
Yes, there was a movie that came out about 20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago. I think it was actually called Spun. And it was a drug-themed movie, but it was talking about like people when they're on, if they're doing a lot of meth and stuff, they actually get into this condition called spun, where they can't focus and they can't concentrate and they can't.
Yeah, it's cognitive dissonance. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you, there is never a condition right now where that is more evident than driving, and then watching the way that people drive, and watching. Traffic is a very. I'm an observer of traffic for 30 years, and so you pick up things. And you see
like birds flying the
people...
wrong way in the winter. Yeah, but it's on the highway. In other words, a bad analogy perhaps, but you notice things that are differences because you're trained to notice those differences for your own safety and those around you. And when people aren't adhering to those normal behaviors you expect, you notice it, right? And so, but the people who are spun, they're not noticing it. The people who are in a state of cognitive dissonance, they're not noticing it because they've been directed this way. And I think what's bizarre is that more people are in that than we've ever experienced in our lifetime.
Well, these guys are still alive because they notice shit. And, like when you're taking care of your rig, like Snoopy was just saying, because you're polished and everything and you're walking, you're looking at stuff, you're looking at every inch of that truck, man. Because it's that one thing that you don't know, you don't notice, you don't think about, that ends up killing you and everybody else around you on the road.
People that might be in the small business.
Hey, because whoever's doing that, can they mute up?
Like I am, versus somebody that just wants to punch a clock at
What is that?
the start of the day and clock
Is
out.
that, is that Trucker Gerald talking?
There's nothing wrong with that, but it takes on a different element when you are, when your name's on the line, so to speak.
Well, whoever that was just talking just now, if that was you, Snoopy, I could barely even hear you. Is your microphone?
Oh, there, I lost you for a second. I'm back. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
There you go.
What did you say?
We had that distance. So.
Yeah, we didn't hear you. Go ahead.
I just switched over to my headphones.
There you go. Now we can hear. Now we can.
Better connection.
Thank you. Now we can hear you.
Far better. Much better.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the Bang & Olufsen's.
Nice.
So yeah, these are good headsets. Yeah.
You gotta throw Trucker Gerald a link for those. You got some Bang & Olufsen.
Oh.
Sorry, Gerald.
Yeah, no, these are nice.
Yeah, man. See,
they'll
look.
set you back about $5, but they definitely are nice.
Yeah, but he's a broadcaster though, man. He should have one of those for sure. Those are nice. Those are nice. But then see, look.
I have to find his show. It's
Truckers Helping Truckers. Wait, dude. Trucker Gerald, tell everybody where they can find your show, because they're going to want to tune in now, because we've alluded to it now, and now you have to give and tell everybody where they can find you, what day.
Yeah, I'm on Revolution Radio, Studio B, 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. I'm a night driver, so I like the night time. So yeah, 3 a.m. Saturday morning. I know it's a crazy hour, but
I think you come on. I think you're on Studio B right after Into the Microcosm, or I think you're in the last hour. You go against our. I think we're on the same time as you, but we're on Aftermath and you're on over there. So it might be a struggle, ladies and gentlemen. But there it is. I mean, you can always go to the archives, and Trucker Gerald's got plenty of archives over there, so you can find them over at freedomslips.com. And tonight we're talking about trucking, and we got Way Cools here, and he's got Bang Olufsen's going, and so now listen.
Yeah.
So now listen. Let's get these.
Speaking of archives, Jimmy, that's one thing I've been looking for the microcosm shows that I miss. I don't think they archive them very regularly on.
No,
Aftermath,
they just my podcast on Aftermath come out every Thursday, so. There's a new one.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a new one every Thursday, but last Thursday there wasn't a new one yet because I was just moving into the studio. So there'll be 2 new ones, I think, tomorrow or the next, or whatever Thursday is. I lose track of the days, man. They start to bleed together, and I'm sure that's the way it is being a trucker too, right? The days bleed together. The miles just go on and on. You're staring through the glass. You got a lot of time to think, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and it's a lot of it's a lot of boredom interspersed with sheer moments of terror.
And how much
that's
do you?
The best way I can put it.
And how much do you get a mile for that?
Well, it's a moving question. Different loads pay different rates.
Okay, so
me personally, I generally do $3 to $4 a mile when I'm loaded, but I have in my vocation I have a lot of empty miles as well. So
yeah,
that $4 oftentimes gets down to $2.
Right.
a guy can still make a living with that, and we try.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that's another thing is people when they get into it or whatever, they really don't have a concept of anything from those schools. And like we were talking about earlier, a lot of those guys don't even get trained on driving on hills at all. I mean, they're driving on they're driving on crack. They're flatlanders. And a lot of these guys.
They've made the trucks. They've automated the trucks enough where they can get away with having some degree of novice drivers for 80% of the time. But it's that 20% of the time when that novice wasn't trained properly that he winds up in a situation where, he's going to be picking the runoff ramp, because he heated up his brakes. And,
that's.
I just saw a guy that you were talking about that a couple segments ago. I just saw a guy at the top of one of those. So like he had such velocity going down the hill that he had enough momentum or inertia to get up to the top of the sand trap, and it's going up at a pretty, I don't know what degree angle that is, but it's 15 or 20%. And it's going through sand, and he had enough inertia going where he was.
I don't know what
this was Mount Eagle in Tennessee. If anybody's familiar with that, I'm sure Trucker Gerald probably is. So.
Yeah, 10-4, and also if anybody hits one of them ramps, they not only are they fired, but they lose their CDL for 6 months. Lose their CDL for 6 months. So if you're thinking about becoming a truck driver, make sure that they train you on driving in the mountains. So you need that.
Right.
Yeah, and
and just to add insult to injury, you're going to get a bill for them to come and you're going to get the tow bill to get pulled out of there, but they're also going to bill you to re-rake that pit, to re-rake that ramp.
$1,000 approximately, right? Just to re-rake it. Yeah. And what about a car? Like you guys are experts on this. So if the car hits that, my terribly faded Nissan Sentra. If I'd hit that with my Nissan Sentra, what would happen to my car?
Well, probably nothing. It most likely just get stuck, But how stuck you got would be the question, I guess. I mean, that's the idea, is to slow you down rapidly, and so they do that with with sand or thick dirt or whatever that will slow the momentum of the truck down. But yeah, once you go in there, I mean, that's your last resort. That's obviously something you want to do versus hitting a stalled bus full of nuns and orphans at the bottom of the hill.
Going airborne, right? Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that's your better of two bad options. I mean, that's really about all that is. But going in there is not a panacea. I heard a story the other day. It's kind of interesting about a guy who was actually on the same road that I just mentioned on Interstate 24 in Tennessee, and there's two of these escape ramps on that, and he was going to pick the one because his brakes were failing, and as he got close, he saw that somebody was actually barbecuing. Like a station wagon had pulled up to the end of that thing, and they had like their Smokey Joe and stuff set up, and they were like picnicking at the threshold of this escape ramp. So here he thought, I mean, he's coming down the mountain. You can imagine what a harrowing ride that is. He's probably doing 80 plus miles an hour, and this is back in the days when everybody had CB. So he's talking to the other guys on the CB. Hey, give me this lane. You guys all stay out of my way. Mm-hmm. And he comes up to that ramp, and he sees that if he takes that ramp, he's gonna kill this family. So he takes the second ramp, which is further down the hill. And fortunately, he made it in there. But it just shows you the utter lack of education that people have, that they don't really realize what those
totally
are for.
Picture Chevy Chase and the vacation crew with their
right, and the family truckster. Yes.
Yeah. It's wild. Hey, who's your daddy is in the chat. I think you should call in, bro. He's a truck driver too. James, give us a call, 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761. Let's start talking about some of this now. So it's a good job to get, and some guys figure, a lot of people, there's almost like there's a cottage industry of new immigrants that come to America, however they got here. We don't care. They're just new immigrants, new to America, new to the system. And one of the things that they say is, well, you know, you can get jobs, you know, at the airport, work in security, or you can, you know, be a truck driver. So you see a lot of people from other countries coming in as immigrants and getting jobs as truck drivers here. And someone in the chat room over here just brought up a while back that there's a lot of people driving the wrong way and all kinds of weird stuff going on now. Have you guys seen this start to become the career of choice for these non-trucker CDL drivers that are just there to make the money, you know, in whatever truck? They just get in the seat and drive. They don't look at the truck. They don't do anything.
100%.
Go ahead.
100%.
Go ahead and expound on that.
100%.
Go ahead and expound on it a little bit, because
we actually call them steering wheel holders, because essentially that's what they're doing, is holding the steering wheel. So they've got the truck down where it's, you know, it has enough automation on it where it can take care of a lot of things, and you know, it has automatic braking systems, and they have lane departures and anti-roll technology, all the things that used to be required, you know, for you had to have skill that you didn't do those things. So they've automated a lot of that stuff, but they're in sort of this purgatory between full automation and not so much automation. And so they've got that guy as the interim until hopefully, and from their point of view, that they can automate all of these things. Now, I don't know why we need that. I mean, we have that already. It's called trains. You know? So I'm not sure why we need driverless trucks, other than trains can't haul all the freight, and
because you don't have to.
The eggheads are sitting around thinking about ways of cutting that guy out.
They need driverless.
Save that payroll cost.
They need driverless trucks because they don't have to pay benefits or anything. They don't have to.
Right.
They don't have to stop you guys at 11 hours or whatever it is. You know, they don't
Right.
have to. They don't have to do any of that. It's. I mean, and believe this or not, when I had my company, before I closed my company, and I was doing a bunch of work for Nextel, I did a bunch of work for government people, government facilities, because Nextel's clients were government, because Nextel's phones were encrypted, and they were the only encrypted cell phones that there ever has been. And so they all used to push to talk back then, because it's like two-way radio, but it was also encrypted.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
The cell carrier that I had, it was a competitor of Nextel. They actually came out with their own version of that push to talk.
Yeah, but it's not the
feature.
same.
You had that.
Yeah, it's not the same though. That is readable. But you know, let me just put it this way: for Nextel, I installed gear in the entire Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department, that includes Fresno and all this. And let me just tell you.
Yeah, I know where that's at.
Yeah, so I mean, Fresno, the police department there is like a military. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I never saw some. I mean, when I was in there, you know, putting the systems in and stuff. I mean, I never saw a police operation look like that. And these guys were full on flak jackets, you know, submachine guns, you know, M16
It's the
style.
Fusion Center.
Yeah, it was definitely
it's
a
like
fusion.
the Fusion Center
It was a
that
fusion
they brought
center.
up 10, 15 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, sheriff's. I did the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. You know what the funniest thing was, man? The funniest thing was when I got that contract and I got all of those police stations to go do. I was a contractor for Nextel. Okay, I had a master construction agreement, but there was no documentation to say that I was, besides my contract with Nextel. So Nextel didn't supply me with a badge where I'd come walking in and go, "Hi, I'm from Nextel," and then they just let me in.
Right.
Well, they didn't give me one of those. So you know what I did? I went to when I was up at a meeting in Nextel. I grabbed a business card off the front desk, and then I went and I cut the logo out, and I put my picture on it, and then I laminated that shit into a laminated ID badge, and then I'd show up at these police places. I go, "Here's my ID," and they'd look at it. They go, "Come on in," you know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I was supposed to
But
be.
you just got to have that, right?
Right. Obviously, I was supposed to be there. They knew who I was. The ID really was irrelevant. But it's just funny that I just, it was a fake ID. It's just all. It was funny.
Right.
I mean, but it was really me.
No,
but it was, not an actual document. And
But it shows how you can appease their those kind sheriff's departments, law enforcement, etc. They have a deference for protocol, if you will, and it shows
Exactly.
how easy you can just defeat that.
As long as
I saw his ID.
Yeah,
He's got the ID.
As long as you're doing what everybody else is doing, then everything's fine. As long as you don't
Right.
stand out. And but anyways, I don't know how we got down that road, but we were talking about. Why was I talking about that? Because of what? Because of the sheriff's department? I don't know why. Fresno.
Well, you were talking about the push to talk feature, and
Right,
the fact
there
that
you go.
Nextels were the only secured.
Right. So anyway, yeah.
How was like
And
CDs?
they actually Nextel went to Sprint, right? Isn't
yeah,
that
but they just
where they?
when Sprint did the buyout, that's when my company when Sprint bought Nextel was when I was sick. So when Sprint bought Nextel, they kicked all the managers that I was dealing with to the curb, because they did house cleaning.
Yeah.
So by the time I got through all my treatments and shit, most of the people that I knew over there weren't there anymore. So I just didn't even go.
right.
I didn't even go back to Sprint or whatever. I just, I did work for Sprint, a bunch of work. I mean, the name change was there. That's what I was doing when I got sick, was the rebanding effort, because they were moving Nextel from their old 800 megahertz frequencies. They were moving them off of that. They were moving them up into the 900s because the 800s are going to be used for public safety specifically. So that's what it was all about. So that my contract, I had 300 cell sites from Redwood City down to San Luis Obispo, and I went through and changed all their gear, changed out the head end, changed out all the rectifiers, put in new racks. Not me personally, but I mean, I did at first, but then, just to see what I had to do, and then I basically laid it out with a bunch of crews. So I had crews going all night, every night. Kicked ass on that job. That was a good one. Anyways, my name is Jimmy. It's in the microcosm, and we're here every night, 10:30 Pacific, right immediately following Clyde Lewis Ground Zero. Whoever's washing their dishes over there, can you mute up, please? It's coming through loud and clear. So we are here every Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, right after Clyde Lewis, and it's Trucker Tuesday, and we got a couple truckers here. Way Cool Snoopy's here. Trucker Gerald's here. Epic Journeyman's here. Epic, did you drive a truck over in Iraq? I think you told me you did. You were driving something.
I did, actually. No, not like an 18-wheeler, but I drove some trucks. And yeah, I'm tripping out. I was looking up CB radio because I didn't know what frequencies they transmitted on, because I've heard about it. Its heyday was 1976, 1977. I was a kid still. So, and it kind of, fell by the wayside to most people. And we think about cell phones and 800, 900 megahertz and beyond, but they were transmitted 26.9 to 27.405 megahertz.
I was going to say we're the 11 meters, 27 megahertz.
Yeah,
26.965 is channel 1, and channel 40 is 27.405.
Yeah, and it's right between AM and FM radio. So in other words, it's that space between. So you lose AM radio at 600 kilohertz or so, 720 I think is a top end, depending what radio you have, somewhere in there. And then no, I'm sorry, that's not true. Let me go back. You get over a megahertz. You get to like 1600 or so, right? I'm not looking at anything. I'm just going off memory. But if you go FM starts down at 80 something megahertz. So you have that big band in between, and nobody ever really thinks about what's going on down there, do they? Because you think about that CB radio band. It's really narrow. If you think about it, it's not that much. 26.9 to 27.4, basically. That's not a very wide band at all. You only have 40 channels. You have 40 channels, and there's a 10 hertz step between every channel, with a few exceptions that have like a 20 hertz step, which is why you get like a higher, like the difference between channel 3 and 4 might be 20 hertz.
versus every other channel is only 10 hertz or something. So that's why it comes out like that. Yeah. But, you know, it's still very, I mean, there's still a lot of utility in the CB, although, you know, I would say probably more than half of the CDL drivers that we see now don't even run them anymore. And I don't, you know, to me, I don't know how you do it, because that's the best way you're going to get real-time information on something that's happening. I mean, you can have GPS, you can have satellite radio and all this other stuff. It's not going to tell you what's going on a mile in front of you.
No.
You know, like that, you know, like your buddy going the other way is going to tell you, hey, traffic stopped up ahead. You know,
well, I got a CB radio.
It saved my butt more than once, that's for sure.
I got a CB radio, and then all I got to do is hook it to a battery, and I'm ready to transmit. So, you know, the thing is, I keep one around because in case the power goes out, or the case something happens, and you know, you got no phones, no communication. The only way, you know, two-way radio is free, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to pay by the month for it. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. When I was going for my ham radio operator's license, what I noticed was, and it was really interesting, and I even pointed this out on the air to let whoever might have been listening know they should check it out, is that there was a lot of people from Middle Eastern origins that attained or were applying or testing for ham radio operator licenses. And I would say it was 80% names that looked like they came from there, and 20% names that seem like they're from America. And I found that to be super interesting, simply because, number one, ham radio, once you have the gear to transmit, is free. But number two,
all over the world too.
But yeah, but number two,
absolutely.
But number two, who are the people that are having these? Why are they? You know, this is easily a terrorist network that's going on there with that, easily, and
100%.
Yeah, go ahead. You guys want to speak to some of that two-way radio stuff?
I just want to say before this little tangent I had, that the 10 hertz step on CB radio is interesting because it intentionally misses the 7 hertz or so step of the Schumann resonance. So Schumann resonance steps up in its order of harmonics around 7 hertz between them. And so, you know, it's intentionally missing the Schumann resonance, right? And yet this narrow bandwidth we're talking about, a megahertz bandwidth that they transmit on, that's phenomenal to think that it still is able to be used in the way it is today. And if you think about what's around that, we're talking about 25 was said earlier. What about all the stuff in between? So if you lose you know, definitely prior to 2 megahertz on AM, and you don't pick up again until you know, 88 or so on FM, right? Without looking at the dial here, that's this whole big bandwidth, with the exception of that little 1 megahertz bandwidth that CB uses. It's being used for all kinds of other things. And I don't know why I never really thought of it before, because it actually is. I mean, I thought about it a little bit, but not like this. Like, that means there's a huge amount of stuff that's out there being used that we're missing completely. Because nobody's really tuning into.
Absolutely. Well, you know, cordless phones always used to be 49 megahertz until they went to 800 and 900 megahertz. Because you mentioned like 800 was mostly public safety and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, now. But and then of course now your cell phones, I think, are all 2.4 gigahertz. So they've moved all of that. You know. Yeah,
that's the same frequency. You know, that's the same frequency as a microwave oven. It's the same frequency as your wireless, your wireless stuff. You know what's really funny, man, is back in the day when those cordless phones first came out. I mean, anybody that's, you know, in wireless knows that, you know, anybody could listen. If you got a cordless phone, your neighbor's pretty much listening to you if they're that kind of a person.
I listen to all my neighbors.
Okay.
All right. I had a Bearcat scanner that was continuous from 25 to 550 megahertz, and so I would listen to everybody.
Yeah. Well, see, when back in the day though, I was hip to it. And so they used to sell a little item. This is back when Nextel had encrypted cell phones. Back in the day, they used to have something called spread spectrum. And this was what your.
I remember that.
Yeah, this is where your phone would frequency hop in the middle of the phone call. So it would just hop around. It would be on this frequency. It would move over to that one and it'd hop around. But you can't buy spread spectrum phones anymore. But you know what's funny is I still have mine. I was looking at it today. I was laughing about it. I was laughing about it. You can't buy these anymore, man, because we got to get some new batteries for them.
I remember that.
Yeah. So if you ever
I remember when they came out with that. It's interesting to hear your take on that because I never really probably appreciated, exactly what it was. It's kind of like when a public service when they truncate their radio transmissions.
Exactly.
So they might receive on one channel and transmit on another.
Right. Bingo.
And it makes listening to them difficult.
And that's why they don't want. That's why they don't want the slaves having that technology. You slaves aren't allowed to have any private phone calls anymore unless you still have your old. Or you go to the Goodwill and see, or just type on the internet spread spectrum phone. I bet you somebody's selling them, their old phone on
they're
eBay.
Out there. Yeah.
eBay. Old school landline. Exactly. That's what you need. They have to tap that.
That's
they have to literally tap that.
Literally, physically. That takes a court order. That's why that takes a court order. Because you have to physically. Go ahead.
For me, in my trucking business, I'm kind of thinking of putting the cell phone on a standby and kind of going to a sat phone. So I don't know. I'm kind of still getting my, learning how that's going to work.
Those are really expensive, man. Those are really expensive.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like most of them you can get your incoming calls free, but your outgoing calls are basically, analogous to your cell phones of 20 years ago, where it was like 30 cents a minute or something.
Well, this
that's more than that. You know what's great though? You just caught the chink in the armor there. How that worked? If the incoming calls, even if they're not free, they're reduced rate, which makes sense because you're picking up the network, right? You're not transmitting to the network,
right?
You're picking it back. You just have somebody call you, and then you can use your cell phone in order to call them back, right?
Exactly.
Whatever you want. Or pick a landline, a call phone somewhere.
Well, my thing is I want to be able, I hate the smartphone. I mean, I recognize what it is. It's a spy that I carry around with me that I actually bought. I paid for my own minder to spy on me. I want to put that in a Faraday cage, and leave that alone sometimes, and still, but still be not incommunicado. So I still want to have a cell phone, or in this case, a sat phone, where if somebody needs to absolutely get a hold of me, the people that need that information will have my number, and then they can just still call me.
I'd absolutely. I mean, if you can afford because obviously you're running your own truck, it's your own business, so obviously you're itemizing your taxes. So for you to get a cell phone, instead of you having to pay some tax, you might as well spend that tax on the sat phone instead of giving it to 100%. Uncle Sam. Instead of giving your money to Uncle Sam, use your money for your sat phone, and then you can get away from Uncle Sam. Because the power.
Exactly.
We used a satellite phone because we didn't have cell phones or any way to communicate with our people. We didn't have what's called CapRock set up yet to work with the satellite connection to give us internet, IP, voice over IP, or anything like that. So we had that. And it was like, it was a lot, man. I don't know how many dollars a minute. We didn't have to pay it, luckily, but they rationed us how much we could use it. But yeah, it occurs to me you might be right about that if you're not transmitting, then you could probably receive, and that might not be even if it's not free, it's probably not much, right?
Well, no, the deal I found was like $100 a month, but you only get 150 minutes of outgoing minutes, but you get unlimited incoming. And the question I had that I haven't answered yet is whether or not I can do whether or not I can text message on it. Because if I could also text on it, then that would cinch the deal for me, I think.
I don't know if you could, but it depends. It's changed a lot. I was on it in 2004, right? So.
Well, check this out, man. People don't realize, you can get your ham radio operator's license pretty easy. And people on ham radio, they're really cool, man. They'll help you out. They'll help you get some gear and all this. And it's really fun. And the thing about it is, like I keep saying, There's no tracing of signals, man. You can harden a building, you can harden a device, you can harden anything you want, but once that shit goes out in the air, it's free. There's nothing you can do to it.
Exactly.
So over
Just like
here,
it's supposed to be.
and over here in California, Gavin Newsom is shutting down all the repeaters for all this stuff, a lot of this stuff, you know. So the thing is,
I heard that.
it's clear. So the thing is, what they want to do is I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's something called white space. Okay, and this is a space that used to be in between the channels that were on TV, like the different channels, whatever it was, UHF, VHF.
Yeah.
These were the channels that were in between. It's called white space. So there's a whole thing going on with white space frequencies. There's like white space stuff going on. So the thing is, frequencies everywhere, and every frequency someone wants to own that band of frequency.
Right.
They're looking for stuff to do stuff on now, to ride on it. And what they want to do is they want to get away from this ham radio thing. They want to get away from the two-way radios because they're free. Once you buy the gear, that's it. You don't need anything else. And the other thing is too is like these are the ways when there's a failure and around the country, ham radio operators and these radio operators are the ones that are going to be able to transmit and send information around. That's what it's supposed to be there for. So the whole reason that they give you a license is so that they have trained people that can operate these radios in the event of an emergency. So I don't see how it makes sense. I don't see how it makes sense to tear down the repeaters. For what's the reason? Why are they trying to make it impossible for us to use these repeaters? That doesn't make sense, man. So
and it doesn't matter though, because the repeaters just make it higher resolution and increase the distance, unnaturally. But naturally, you could be talking to somebody in Russia right now. Me over here in Hawaii. I mean, no problem. So it's just
depends on what frequency you're on.
Right. The frequency.
Because like the repeaters are on 2 meters or something, where you can be on a different band entirely and just run your own power. So you don't need a repeater.
And that's what I was going to say. Run your own power.
You're using the ionosphere of the atmosphere to transmit your signal.
Yep.
And so if you have a solar system or battery backup or just any kind of power at all to make that transmission work, I mean, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. They can't stop you.
Absolutely.
They can't stop you. All they can do is find you. They can find you. Now that is the other side of it.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden that became like somehow illegal, to where they're going to hunt you down, well, they can triangulate your position and find you. But
yes, they can.
But as far as stopping you, they can't stop you.
But the thing is, you can do like a low power FM station on some frequency that's not being used in your area. I've actually thought about doing it from this new place that I'm in, because I'm on the top of a hill over my little city. I mean, I could just do a little FM station just right here in my little city. And you can buy that stuff.
Pirate radio.
You can buy that stuff for like $500, man, and it's legal. It's totally legal. I mean, it's legal. Thing about the FCC, they're really not going to go after anybody. They're not going to triangulate anybody unless you're doing something weird. But I would suggest that it's
you have to be interfering with like some kind of public safety apparatus. Your signal has to be so strong that it's interfering with the ambulance calls.
I think they just send out enforcers in double-breasted suits to just show up and act like they're going to do something to the people that have a lot of money. And then you just pay them off and they go away. But I don't think there's any dudes out there in white vans driving around trying to triangulate anybody.
Not anymore.
It's fake.
You used to hear kind of about it back in the day.
Yeah, the only guy that
I was old school CB in like the 80s, where everybody had linears, so we had like a big power amplifier. So we transmitted with 1,000 watts instead of the statutorily prescribed 4 watts.
I think the only guy working at the FCC is the head of the FCC, and I don't think he does shit except for when he walks out the one day when they hire him. God damn it, I'm gonna make sure that everything goes fine.
Right.
And you never see him again.
That was famous for his Reese's giant cup, right? He had the giant cup with the Reese's logo on it or whatever. I mean, it was huge. It was like a gallon cup. It's comical.
It is comical, man. My name is Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. We're talking trucks tonight. Trucker Gerald's here. Are you still here, Trucker Gerald? we're rambling over we're rambling over here. Meanwhile, he's gone. Yeah. Have you gone 60 miles since the last time we talked?
Yeah, probably have.
That's funny, man. Because we were talking, because you said you were driving, so I didn't want you to, stop or anything. So that's cool. So as we have been sitting here, ladies and gentlemen, Trucker Gerald has been hurling himself through time and space, in his truck, like he does every day.
Every day.
Dude, listen, we have a combined 5 million mile wisdom of trucking right here. It's unbelievable, man. Literally, it is 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. Give us a call if you're a trucker. Give us a call if you like trucks. Give us a call. I was talking about the movie. If you give us a call if you don't like trucks. I was talking, and the reason I'm saying that is because earlier I was, grabbing some audio stuff for the show, and I reminded myself, I was like, what the hell was the name? I thought it was called Killdozer, because there was a movie called Killdozer.
There was a movie called Killdozer.
But it wasn't Killdozer that I was thinking about, because it was starring Dennis Weaver, and this was the movie we were talking about earlier, Duel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
Steven Spielberg famous.
It was Dennis Weaver in a red car
exactly
versus a guy in a black semi. I don't remember. I think it was a man.
His windows were all tinted out. The windows were all tinted. Tell him about the movie Duel, Epic Journeyman.
Yeah, the movie Duel was a TV movie that ended up being famous because Steven Spielberg produced it and directed it, and it became a huge movie. It was better than the average TV movie by far, and so it's what led him to have all these other opportunities in Hollywood later on. So it was one of his breakthrough movies.
So the trailer is not very good for a radio listening audience. So let me just say, Dennis Hopper's driving along, and there's a truck. And so Dennis Hopper's a dick.
Dennis Weaver.
Yeah, Dennis Weaver. Dennis Weaver's a dickhead, and what he does is he starts to mess with the truck, and he pulls in front of the truck, and he gets in front of the truck, and the truck is coming up on him close, and he's getting nervous, and he starts speeding up, and the faster he goes, the faster the truck goes, and so finally he just goes, "Oh, you want to play games, huh?" And then he hits the brakes in front of the truck. And then that's when the whole thing ensues. As he's driving across the country, it's a battle between him and this truck. And let me just say, there's carnage, mayhem, and all kinds of great... you can probably see that one for free on YouTube if you wanted to.
If I recall, there's not a lot of dialogue in that
There's
movie.
Hardly any dialogue.
It's basically just all him,
it's
matching
terrifying.
wits against the unseen, unknown trucker.
He's sweating a lot too.
It's terrifying, man.
Yeah, he's sweating.
Dude, it's terrifying. I mean, imagine a semi bearing down on your ass at 100 miles an hour and not, definitely not going to stop. So 312 is joined the call. 312. Who are you? Where you calling from, man?
Yo, Jimmy, it's Robin.
Hey, Robin.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, we're doing good. That's funny.
Robin.
That's funny. I said, how you
See,
doing?
I just woke up.
Did you? So, Robin.
Yeah. Brandy shot me a text, and I was like, oh, man, I got to get on there. I got to call. I'm going, what's the number? Who do I call?
Yeah. So that's kick-ass. Well, I'm glad you called. So, Way Cool Snoopy's here. He's an independent driver, and Trucker Gerald is over there somewhere. I don't know where
Gerald?
Where are you driving to, Gerald, tonight?
I'm in South Carolina.
Okay, cool. So there he is. He's in South Carolina. So what do you have to say? What are you thinking? How are you feeling about America right now? I mean, you're going all over the place. You get to go here and there, but I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, things seem like they're really relaxing all of a sudden.
I'm feeling great, dude. I don't have any issues at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, my mind is free, so I don't have all these issues that a lot of these people have. But it's okay that they have them because they have to face them. I already faced mine a long time ago, but I find it interesting, because in every state it's different. You know, like I was just over in Chippewa Falls in Wisconsin. That's like Norman Rockville land over there, and it's like typical American, you know, people. And I mean, we were partying on, man. Like Friday we had the blues festival. Everybody was out having a good time, drinking beers, eating food, listening to good blues.
Oh, kick
you
ass.
know, yeah, down by the Chippewa River. And now I'm over here in. I saw a grizzly bear today. Oh my God, it was awesome.
Oh, nice.
I'm in Montana right now, so
Oh, sweet.
over here in Big Timbers. Yeah. So
Wisconsin is my domicile. That's actually where I live. So yeah. You're speaking to my heart there.
So
yeah, I love Wisconsin. I love Kenosha, and that was really sad what happened there. You know, when all that crazy making broke out over there, because that's a great little quiet little town. You know, that's my go-to spot when I'm on the Chicago board. I go over to Kenosha. I always get loads out of North Chicago. You know, out of that area. So I'm always, you know, over in that area. And, yeah, I mean, Wisconsin is cool. Florida's great. Texas is cool, except down by Laredo. You know, they got everybody wearing masks everywhere. They're all in fear down there. They live in a big fear
Isn't
bubble.
it crazy? Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, I don't live in that, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, most of the time I just go in maskless. I really don't give a crap. You know, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So
I've been maskless since this thing started. So I was maskless before this thing started, and I remain maskless. And there's been a couple of I've only had a couple of episodes where somebody like actually said something, you know, and I put them in their place right away. So
yeah,
were you saying
you got to advocate for yourself, otherwise nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah,
you know, and you gotta know what you're
absolutely,
talking
absolutely.
About.
And appeasement.
But I love trucking. I've been doing it 20 years. I love what I do.
Appeasement never works, no matter what. No matter what the situation, appeasement never ever works.
Exactly, because they always want more.
That's right.
They always want more. You're never going to appease them to satisfaction. They're always going to ask for something else.
That's right.
Right. Well, from my understanding, though, from my insights, anyways, you know, it's basically we're living in a closed, controlled system that was designed to keep us enclosed invisibly, and most people aren't aware of this fact of what's going on. And so they just, you know, go along with the business because they don't want to ruffle any feathers or whatever that means. I really don't even know what that means. But, you know, just be yourself. Live your life. Be happy. Be at peace. But all their fears are coming to the surface right now. And the biggest thing that people fear is death, you know. I don't have that issue. I made my peace with that a long time ago. You know, you're going to die at some point.
No, because if you're
dies.
afraid of dying, then you're afraid of living.
That's right.
Because if you base all of your decisions on, gosh, I might die if I do that, then you're not going to live.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
And you guys wouldn't.
What's the point?
You guys wouldn't get up and go to work in the morning if you're afraid to die, because literally, like I said earlier, every day that you leave and come home that's your lucky day. And you know,
like I said, long periods of boredom interspersed with sheer terror. That's what trucking is.
Well, truckers are the most highly stressed industries of all the occupations, you know, because we're on the front lines, and we're the ones that are hauling everything. And if we don't, you know, I mean, for us, we're like your front line. And truckers can shut this whole country down if they were united enough and clear-minded enough within a matter of days. Because then nothing would move.
That's why I've been
nothing would go anywhere.
That's why I've been wanting to do this show for a while, and we're going to keep doing it every Tuesday, because you know, I think trucking is a major thing in the United States that needs to be recognized for what it is. Because like you were saying, even if we're in a closed system, that closed system will collapse if there's no way to move things from point A to point B. And
so you can't live in fear. You just don't live in fear. I'm a gladiator. You just get out there, you know, you do what you got to do, and there's no emotion in it, you know, to a certain degree, because it's just business. And you're just moving from point A to point B. Just be self-responsible, you know, with what you're doing, and, be respectful and courteous to people and go the speed limit, dude. Just go the speed limit. It's not a big deal.
No, well, let me ask you this now. Since fuel, so you guys have all been driving for a long time. So you remember when fuel wasn't at the price that it is now. And even when fuel was expensive, diesel was always cheaper, wasn't it, than gasoline?
It used to always. Historically, diesel was 30, 40 cents less than gasoline.
Yeah.
Because diesel is a distillate and gasoline is a refined product. And so it was cheaper to make diesel. And I think the fundamentals of that haven't changed. I think it's just the tax basis that's changed.
Well, except in 2009 or 10, when diesel shot up like almost $1 over average than everybody else. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Because
and it's always fluctuated depending on what state you're in, too. It just depends on the state you're in. But right now, it's like in Illinois and Indiana, just even for regular fuel, just your basic 87, you're paying like $3 or more a gallon, just depending on where you're at, plus the taxes on top of it per gallon.
Yeah, that's why.
I'll crack it up. I pay less than Jimmy does in California here in Hawaii.
He does, and I was bringing it up because I have a diesel Volkswagen Golf, and so I get like.
Oh, that's a great car.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a great car.
Yeah, that thing. They quit making them, man. Last year, a couple years ago.
That's why.
I know, because the thing gets
that car actually works too well.
I know.
And so that's why they quit making it. Yeah.
Yeah, but out here, diesel is a few cents less than gasoline, and gasoline is $4.51 a gallon as of today. So,
Holy crap.
So what that makes me wonder is people that are. A lot of times people say, I'm sick of driving. I want to get one of these trucks, and so a lot of these companies will lease people trucks. But isn't that really like a scam to really get you guys to fund their operation while you're paying their truck back and you're paying all the expenses and all that?
It's the lease purchase scam. Yes.
Let's go into that.
Essentially, what they do.
Let's talk about that.
Is they look for people that aspire to be an owner-operator, but maybe don't have the credit worthiness to actually go out and buy a truck on their own, and get a bank or whatever to finance them. So they say, hey, we'll finance the truck. In other words, you lease purchase it from us, and the idea being that you're ultimately going to own that truck at the end of this thing, but you never really will because you don't want your lender to also be the person that signs your paycheck, and because they're going to they're going to rig that so it works for them best. So in other words, they'll keep you they'll keep you going enough to make 3 years worth of payments, but then all of a sudden maybe your loads dry up or you don't get the same revenue on the loads, and then you're not making it, and pretty soon you got maintenance, that's encroaching.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm just going to give up. And so they take the truck back, and you lose all your equity, whatever equity you had, and then they turn around and they release that truck to someone else. So, yes, that's a scam.
Yeah, it's a big hook. You don't want to be hooked, and you want to be
It's a
free
hook.
from
That's
everything, You go in with your own
That's
truck.
right.
Like, see, now I'm in a specific class, though. I do cargo van expedite. I prefer cargo van. I'm not a big rig. I'm not a CDL. So I'm limited in regarding all the regulations. I'm not subject to a lot of the regulations that the bigger classes are subject to. And so I'm kind of like, I'm a commercial vehicle, but I run off of my own license. I don't need a CDL.
Oh,
I do a DOT inspection on my vehicle once a year, make sure everything's operational, everything's fine. And then I do a 2-year physical. And then I'm on a 16-5 clock, meaning like I have a 16-hour drive time, and then I have to go down for 5 hours so that I can get a rest, and then I can continue on driving. And so I can go down roads that the big rigs can't go down. I can do things they can't do. But I drive anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 miles a month. And so my goal is always to drive at least 1,000 miles a month. And I could do that in 1 or 2 loads, and I'm good to go. And my overhead at home is very low. So I'm, most of the time I'm on the road anyways. I'm hardly ever home. And, but, I love just being on the road.
Yeah.
I just love doing what I do. And you have to have a passion for it. You have to have a drive for it. And you have to have a clear head. And you have to be non-emotional about it because you're dealing with a lot of different types of people, and you just go in, strike, and go out, and you hold people to the fire because it's a two-way street here. You're hiring me to do a job. Why are you creating all these snags? Let's fix this, because you're stealing my time now.
Right.
I don't want people stealing my drive time. That's valuable to me.
So kind of lay out like a two-tier path. We got an hour and a half to go, or an hour at least. So let me kind of like lay out two tiers.
Hey,
maybe
before you do that, just 1 second. Before you do that, while you do that, I am gonna go exit stage left and have a cigarette because I can't smoke in my studio.
I know it. I'm feeling for you, Jimmy. You can watch you agitated,
Smoke break.
like hopping around a little bit. Yeah.
But listen, before I do, let me just say. So let me ask you a question, Robin, about that type of a driver, okay, in reference in general. I'm not specifically talking about you, but in general.
Right.
The CDL has a specific requirement as far as people having to piss all the time to make sure they're not under the influence of anything. So what I'm...
I don't know about that. You're hired to get a job from point A to point B within a specific time frame, and so they have a whole different set of rules,
right? And that's what
that are not pertinent to me. And then they have to keep logs, and they're more subject to more heavier scrutiny than I am.
So what I'm asking you is there anybody as far as the kind of driving you're doing, like say for example, if I was going to be that kind of a driver, and I live here in California and cannabis is legal. Okay, but I'm not going to smoke cannabis when I'm driving. But if I'm that type of a driver, a CDL driver, I would not be able, even though cannabis is legal, I would not be able to drive because I would test dirty.
Yes, I get your. Yeah. Well, when we do our physical, we do pee in a cup. I mean, I'm still an independent contractor, but because we're under federal commercial, licensing codes, and we have contracts, like my broker is a specific company out of Ohio that I deal with. They're my broker, and so I know what commercial law, what my jurisdiction is, what my contract says. Like I can't even carry a firearm, you know what I mean?
Right.
I cannot carry a passenger with me. There's certain, things that I have to abide by as well as an independent contractor, according to the contract that I have with them in regards to brokering me the load.
So you only have to drug test once a year when you go for your physical?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, no, twice. I do it. No, I do my dot physical once every 2 years is all I do.
All right.
They do your eyes. They make sure you're healthy and you're not, you can hear, you can see, you can, I mean, it's just a basic, simple little test, But yeah, and that's basically what that's all about. But I did all that stuff when I was younger. But I like my IPAs, my craft beers with a nice meal.
Yeah,
I mean, every now and then when I have downtime, But other than that, no, I'm just, I'm free flowing. I'm just, when I'm driving, it's like flying.
Nice. Yeah, I
love it. I love my long hauls.
Me too. I mean, when I used to drive up to Glenwood Springs from here, I would get in the car and keep going until I got there. In other words, I'd only stop for gas and that's it. Just keep going all the way there, one sitting, boom. And same thing on the way back. I can't do it anymore though. I mean, it's a little too much. Okay, Epic. Now
so we got the road we're going down. We got two turnoffs, and the two turnoffs I want to kind of address.
Okay.
Are one is the idea of artificial intelligence in the sense of robotic driving.
Yeah.
And how that threatens the industry. What you guys think about that? And we'll let Jimmy come back, of course, before you comment on that. And then the other one, which we're still gonna let Jimmy come back before you comment on that, but just think about is the idea of how the success of alternative radio is based on truckers, 100%. I mean, there would be no coast-to-coast AM because it literally is catering to truckers, right?
Okay.
There'd be no George Norrie and Art Bell.
Well, let me. So I'm going to be listening. I'm going to be listening on my phone with my Aftermath.fm app outside, so I'll be able to hear the conversation and I'll add to it when I come back. after I have this
Okay.
cigarette. Thanks a
So,
million.
so maybe
Okay, here you go.
I'll ask the hard question first to the panel here. So the hard question first is Coca-Cola and Pepsi and not yet Walmart, but I think they're going to are starting to do their distribution centers with robotic trucks. I mean, they load them up at the main distribution center and send them to the highway, and there is no official driver. They have the driver's a watch tender. He's a tender. He's riding shotgun to put out the cones as the truck breaks down, and then when it gets to the next distribution center in the city, then it goes to the normal couriers and carriers, who deliver it to the stores at 7-Eleven and Circle K and all that kind of thing, right? So I'm sure you've all seen that. So do you think that's a real threat to trucking? No, that's my question to the panel. Do you think that's a real threat? Do you think we're going to survive that? Okay.
Gerald, you go ahead, and then I'll wait. What do you think about it?
Well, yeah, it is something to worry about, but one thing these robots will never be able to do is these difficult backing situations. It's impossible for these robots. And some of these roads, these robots are not going to be able to navigate. So they are not going to be, they can go from maybe California to New York, but these regional runs, they're not going to be able to do it. I don't think so, unless later, once they implement this 5G, maybe the technology will get better. But, that technology is extremely expensive. And then they break down all the time. Computers, you always have computer errors. So I think it's a liability because these self-driving cars and trucks, they're getting in accidents all the time. We had one hit a state trooper, and I think it was California here shortly ago. And when there's self-driving trucks hit a state trooper.
Yeah, how can if a driver can't override the machine, what's the point?
Yeah, Robin, I think that's the thing. So what I've read, and I'm not an expert, of course, I've just read on it. So one of the things that I'm reading is that basically the idea is that self-driving technology is there to deliver them from point A to point B over the highways, essentially. Like it's taking the place of a freight train, right? It's not delivering to 7-Eleven or the local things yet.
No, it's going to the bigger distributions, like in Laredo. That's a big hub. Chicago is a big hub. And then it gets distributed from there. The big rigs, they'll take their hauls, to point A to point B, and then it gets broken down from there, and then it goes into other trucks from there, which takes it to their destination, essentially. And sometimes they even get broken down again on another level. It just depends on what the product is and what's going on, because even truckers go to the airport. Without a trucker, even the stuff that comes through the air carriers and stuff like that, us on the ground truckers, we're the ones that bring the stuff, even from the airplanes and the trains and the boats.
So in the case of Coca-Cola is a specific example, leaving from Atlanta, because they're in Atlanta, right? And they're taking up a shipment to New York on these self-driving vehicles. So when they go up there, there's still people on board. But they're not. They're there to tend to the vehicle if it goes right. In other words, they're not driving. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think the situation is you're required to take so many hours rest. As part of your CDL license and all that stuff. Now they track your your position and how fast you're driving, all that kind of stuff to make sure that you're taking your breaks. Trying to get over on the system, so to speak, but also being safe, right? And so so the people who are riding along that are tending to this autonomous vehicle, what their job is to take advantage of the situation. Not take advantage, that's the wrong word. To intervene if something breaks down. In other words, they put the cones out, they call, they do all that stuff, but they get paid less than the regular driver does. So if they're represented by Teamsters, for example, then the Teamsters is represented at the same level of a regular driver because they're a tender instead of a driver. Right, and so do you think that represents a threat to the social structure of the driving economy?
Oh, the trucking industry itself, you mean? Is that what you're talking about, the overall trucker? Well, I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings about it amongst truckers. I do talk to a lot of CDLers too. They all want to become cargo van drivers. They're always asking me, how do I do this? I've been thinking about doing that because I'm getting sick and tired of this stuff. And I'm just going, well, You know, it just, you know, I mean, they make more money than I do, but then they have a higher overall, you know, expenses too, you know, because you're running your own business essentially, unless you're an employee for a company that runs a truck, you know, because there are a lot of people that are not independent contractors that drive truck too, you know, and you got regional drivers. But to answer your question though, personally, if I'm not behind the wheel and I'm not in command of that vehicle, I don't want nothing to do with it. Because my reflexes are much more faster than any machine ever would be.
Oh, I'm with you 100%. Like, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all.
Right.
And in fact, you know, you're one solar flare away from a mass calamity in autonomous driving, in my opinion. You know, it disrupts. You know, something like a quarantine event can go on, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, everybody's, you know, they're not synced to the internet anymore. Their timing's off, and everybody's running off the road. So I mean, I think it's horrifically bad, because what's going to happen is, in my opinion, is the people who are, you know, sleeping in the back or playing video games because they're not obliged to drive anymore, right? They're not supposed to pay attention. They're not getting paid as drivers, right? They're paid to tend to the vehicle, right? Do periodic checks.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not paying attention as readily as someone such as, you know, myself or Gerald or any other trucker that's not in that type of a vehicle. Because, you know, of all my years of trucking, I've never been in an accident and I've never had a ticket. And, you know, and the reason why is because I know how to read the traffic. And I don't put myself in danger because my life is priceless. And I'm not going to put my life in danger for anybody. Okay? I don't care who you are, you know. And so, but again, going back to the autonomous thing, yeah, it is a threat because what they want to do is they want to take everybody's independence away from them. There's another nefarious, you know, agenda that's underneath it all. They don't want anybody independent. They want everybody codependent on their agenda and their plan and their program. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting to just, you know, watch it unfold. I don't know where it's going to go, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, I'm
not into it.
Yeah, I personally think that you're right that the human-driven vehicle went out because of the very fact that people are, you know, paying attention because they want to live, right? I mean, I'm not talking about making a living. Literally want to live, right? And look out for the people around them. They don't want to get in a crash. And if you're just going to put, all it takes is one or two people, you know, playing Madden football in the back, you know, while the truck drives off the rails and slams into a crowd somewhere for to end that whole thing. But the thing is, I mean, it is going to get good enough at some point. It's going to get good enough at some point. The safeties will be in place to shut it down at the right time, to not make that happen. The LiDAR will work, and all these things will happen to make it safe. It is going to happen. So as far as like the safety, you know, the guardrails on that side of it, if it all works.
Well, so they say.
I remember.
I don't trust any machine.
No,
I don't trust any machine.
Me neither. Of course not.
I remember.
Listen to us. We don't trust it at all. But the I don't know, the white paper aspect of it being proposed, that's it's going to be convincing. It is.
Well, let me just say this, man. I remember now why I brought up the whole Nextel thing. I remembered why now. It's because, you know, 20 years ago, no, and let's call it 2004. Okay, I was on one of those roads I was talking about earlier. We got a phone call coming in too. We missed it. Go ahead and call us back. Here it comes. Damn, I'm pretty sure that was. Let me see if he's there. Call us back. I just missed your call. Go ahead and call us back. So the reason I was bringing it up is because you can search this on the internet either now or later. Search up a company called Hodges Transportation. Hodges Transportation in Nevada. Okay. Now, I was out there for Nextel, and what I was doing was there was a cell site. It was 60 miles away, and we need to get some signal. And this guy hang on a second. He's calling in, and I'm missing it because I'm talking. I'm not watching the screen. Anyway, point is, this company, what they do is they test vehicles for the government. So they test they run tires, they run all this different shit, different cars, different this, whatever it is. They're testing it for safety testing, this and that. They're running it 24 hours a day. That facility is driving vehicles. One of the things they had was an oval truck. They were on the on this oval truck. they ran trucks 24 hours a day, driverless, at 70 miles an hour. This is in 2004, I think. Okay, so it's now 2021. So the possibility of driverless vehicles is beyond our ability to even understand at this point. And I think what's going on with trucking worldwide is that the Belt and Road projects is about to come online, where they're going to start moving goods across the world without using shipping. And they're going to do it with trucks, and they're going to, a lot of these trucks are going to be powered with different types of, methods, natural gas, some electrical, using the trailers themselves as collection devices. I actually came up.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
None of that stuff's gonna work.
Yeah.
Right? At least not in the foreseeable future.
Okay, good. Now, okay, good.
None of that stuff's gonna work.
Now I got you guys sparked up to talk about this. Now I'll stop.
Hold on.
And let me
Let's see what
stop.
you just said, Jimmy.
Yeah, let me stop talking.
Maybe for local or regional stuff that may, it might work to a certain degree. But you're talking about, I'm gonna pull back a little bit. I'm not gonna get away too far from the subject, but a vehicle is a weapon. And if you don't know how to wield that vehicle and you don't know how to, master that vehicle, you can kill a lot of people. And you have to respect the vehicle because it is like a sword, and you have to learn to be like a ninja with that thing, to protect yourself and others. Because I'm always on the road thinking not only of my own well-being, but everybody around me, and an autonomous
absolutely
self-driving vehicle doesn't have the capacity for that like a human being does.
No, but there's not. But there's
thank
not
you
gonna.
very much. Have a nice day. But I
Yeah.
understand where they're going. They want to, they think they're improving stuff. Okay, go ahead. Let's see you do it.
The problem is that there's not going to be any intention for there to be any people in their cars driving around. Those people are gone because they don't drive around anymore. Those people don't drive around anymore. Those people are calling self-driving Ubers from their house or whatever.
Right.
And then other people are buying. And other people are buying the turn your car into a self-driving Uber vehicle for $899. Now you.
Yeah, but see, that's for like local yokel. That's little stuff. We're hauling vital, parts and product and stuff like that. This is a whole different ball of wax.
It totally is.
Uber is Uber. They're just going for, to like an individual's house or something like that. We're going into big shipping facilities. We're going into big receiver facilities. We're dealing with a lot of stuff. And so it's not as simple as that with big rigs.
No, it isn't.
And then you're dealing with the roads in New York City. I talk to drivers, and they hate driving through New York City because, if you don't know where you're going, you can damage your truck really bad, because low bridges and this, that, and the other thing. So there's a lot of other issues involved there.
Yeah.
Okay, I got the most frightening thing ever to think about.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't want to bring it up, but I have to. So think about this. General Atomics got licensed to fly drones over public airspace because they're piloted vehicles. So these drones are piloted vehicles. They're not unpiloted, autonomous drones. There's actually pilots flying them, right? So and as they get bigger and better, like the Avenger is huge, man. It's got like a 6-foot wingspan. It's like an A-10, So as they get bigger and bigger, they can carry more and more cargo. And at some point, it's going to be possible to have these drones flown by a pilot, initially, to go deliver to these distribution centers, like say the TJ Maxx distribution center in Las Vegas or something, for example. And then so they're carrying a certain amount of cargo, and it can even make it safer by having them with floating vehicles in the sense of like a dirigible, where they have letter and air vehicles, so that it can't crash. It can't just crash. You know what I mean? It can't just go spiral out of control and hit the ground. It's not gonna be running off of hydrogen like the Hindenburg, So once that happens, that's another dimension, right? So when you think about like labor rights and how this is going to play into it, we're not there yet. We're not. We are kind of there, but we're not quite there because they haven't developed them yet.
Yeah.
But that's like the next step. That's the next step, And so.
I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying, because I can see a driver sitting in something that looks like a truck where they're actually commanding an 18-wheeler down the road by itself. Okay, and it would take a lifetime trucker to know the nuances of driving a vehicle. And I think at the point where they would have this developed enough to be a video game, a training video game that you play to drive trucks, where they train, where people don't actually sit in the truck, where they do most of their training is where they can't hurt anybody. Okay, but at some point,
it's kind of like an airplane being on autopilot, so they want to make trucks autopilot.
Yeah, and I mean, physically, you could, for example, in reference to what Ethic is talking about, there could just be some place that you go to, like, say, for example, where you would go to pick up a rig to start doing loads for the day for some company that you work for. But instead of doing that, what you do is you go to a trailer somewhere and you sit in one of these video game type consoles and you drive a truck all day. And then when you're done, somebody comes up and they take the next shift, see, and then they jump in, and see, that truck never stops moving. It's almost like a concept of a team driver, like you guys do. I know over-the-road truckers, they'll have a thing called team driving, where you'll have like 2 or 3 dudes all in the same truck. And and you know, while one guy is driving, the other guy's doing something, the other guy's sleeping or whatever, you know, like this. Have you guys ever done any of this team driving? What's that like?
Not me, baby. I'm too independent.
I did it with a friend when I first started driving in the 80s. A good friend of mine took me along with him and kind of taught me how to drive, and then his dad also taught me how to drive, and that was the extent of that. But let me tell you, every single day that I'm out on the road, I make a decision, and this is not hyperbole. I think every single day I make at least one decision that probably saves somebody's life. And I don't think that the automated systems are gonna make those same calculations. In other words, you know, I'll choose to move over to the left lane because I think that somebody's distracted, or I'll see something that, you know, that indicates to me that person is going to do something unpredictable, and so I'll take an evasive action preemptively. And I don't think that automation is anywhere near there yet. In fact, I know it's not.
So imagine, though, for a minute, that what they have is, like, the algorithms get so good that they are really good. Like, they have LiDAR and all these things out there, right? And so that your job is like in 4-hour shifts. You're not driving all day. You're there for 4 hours, and somebody else takes over the next 4 hours, and it's kind of like this cycle routine everybody goes through. They're commanding Unit 2 and Unit 5 or whatever, and that's your shift, right? You control it, and your only job is really to override the AI if something goes wrong. Like, you're watching the whole thing. You are driving. You're not touching the wheel, but if something goes wrong, your job is to intercede if something goes awry. Right, and it's going to be really high resolution, just like you're driving. It's going to look real to you. It's going to look totally. You'll probably be in VR. You can look out the windows. You can do everything.
But
right,
it's not
you'll be right
real.
there. Well,
but it's
yeah,
not
but
real.
But the thing
It's
is, like,
virtual.
your perspective is it's going to look real, right? And so your only job is to be high alert, because you're not going to be worn out from driving and road fatigued all day. So you only work in a 4-hour shift, let's say, on a vehicle, whatever you're assigned to that day. And your only thing is to look out for the baby on the side of the road and the guys, you know, grilling, like you were talking about earlier, out in the truck front of the truck ramp.
And what are you gonna do when you got the dude tailgating you, baby, or the people that are gonna cut you off?
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying this is where.
What are you gonna do with that? You know, machine is not gonna be able to do the reflexes that a human can do. My mind works faster than any supercomputer. Okay, I don't care what anybody says, but that's me. Okay, I can't speak for other drivers.
She's right. I see things happening sometimes 10 seconds before they happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and so AI is not going to have that predictability.
But it would.
I'm so familiar with observing traffic that I will see something, you know, I'll see the stage set for something.
Here's the thing, though.
And
here's the thing, dude.
Yep.
Here's the thing. All your millions of miles, all you guys have, if you sat down at one of these machines and you sat there for a week doing, and when they throw, and the AI will throw everything at you that you've ever seen in your life, and you're gonna react to it based on your experience. Like, for example, when I'm driving and I'm in traffic, you know what I look at? I never look at the car. I never look at the person. I never look at anything. I look at the front wheel that's next to the lane that I'm in. I never look to see if the guy's going to put his blinker on, if he's going to hit his brakes, if he's going to give me any signal at all that he's coming over, because most people where I live don't. If they put on their blinker, if you put on your blinker.
You get the California roll over there, baby. The stop signs, where they don't stop.
Yeah,
that's true.
You put on your blinker over here, and people speed up to close the hole. You know?
Right.
So people
Yep.
stop. So people stop putting on their blinker. So then what happened?
Well, Jimmy, I think it comes down though to the individual themselves, you know, and whether they're made to be a driver or not, because there are a lot of people that drive that aren't made to be a driver. Okay, they're irresponsible. They make a lot of irresponsible responses to situations, and that's what creates a lot of the bang ups that you see on the sides of the roads. They make poor choices. Because they're too busy fearing that they're not going to be where they need to be on time. And there's like, you know what? You're jeopardizing not only your livelihood and your life, but you're jeopardizing everybody else that's also sharing that road with you, you know, because we're sharing the road. And, you know, and as a commercial vehicle driver, it is a privilege for me to be on the road.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm in my private capacity, it's my right to travel. Whole different set of rules, whole different set of laws. So it's very different. Most truckers don't even know that, you know, and
I
so
agree.
it's, you know, so, I mean, I see everything. I see the little turtle that's on the road, and I avoid it. I'm always looking for deer. Yeah, you're looking for everything. You have to be alert because you're doing a service. Yeah.
I see things. I see situations predictively, and I don't think that AI is there yet. And
but guys
so
like
used to being on the road.
What I'm saying is, guys like you are going to train that AI to be just as good as you. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And it won't forget.
Maybe.
No, there's no. What I'm saying is, whether it's you or somebody else, just like you,
right,
who has the road experience that gets thrown problems in a video game scenario, that all your solutions to those problems, everything that you did, as a matter of fact, I would be willing to bet you that it will know what you're thinking because they have a brain reading helmet that they just came out with. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not.
Oh my God! Nobody's putting no helmet on my brain, dude.
Well, what I'm saying is,
one of a kind.
what I'm saying to you, what I'm telling you is, just like when it said, click on all the pictures that are a boat, click on all the pictures that are. Okay, so we were training the AI.
Stupid traffic lights.
We were training the AI then, and what I'm trying to say to you guys is that when this rolls out, they will utilize all the technology available. So in other words, let's say you're training me to be a truck driver, and I'm going to develop a technology for you right now. You know what I'm going to do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate a part of my technology that's reading your eyeballs. I'm scanning your retinas. I'm watching which way your eye's moving, how fast it's moving, when it's moving, as this obstacle, as the deer, as the chatter saying, AA is saying in here, as the deer or the elk jumps in front of your truck. What do? How long did it take you to step on the brakes? What did you do with your eyes? Did you look to the right real quick first? Something happened. Did you reflect? Oh, blah, 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 blah. So what it does is, after repetition of constantly throwing.
To me, it sounds like it's predictive programming. You know, when I'm hearing you say this, and I'm following your train of thought. I am following you, and I do comprehend what you're saying.
Okay, great.
And for me, as a human being, thanks, but no thanks. Okay, I'm not going to train a machine so that I can no longer make a livelihood. Okay,
there you go.
And then they're going to, you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
It's yeah. So I understand it, and I understand. You know, there's certain laws at play that are absolutes in life, and there's nothing that you can do to change them. I don't care, you know, how hard you try. It's not going to happen. Humans have the most innate intelligence and the most intuitiveness, because I operate a lot on intuitiveness too. I'm an offensive driver. I don't drive defensively at all. I'm aware of my whole situation. I know how to read traffic, you know, and I know when something is about to happen, and I make my adjustments accordingly immediately, you know. And so it's just a matter of being able to be savvy and have a real clear mind when you're driving. And most people that are quote unquote professional drivers are not operating on that capacity level that, you know, someone like myself and Gerald and other people, we operate on a different level when we're driving, because we've been doing it for so long. And so it's you know, I mean, you're always looking for the bumps in the road. You're always looking. I mean, you're driving through construction zones, okay? They got a posted speed limit. Don't go over that speed limit, because you're jeopardizing yourself, your truck, your livelihood, and other people's lives. But I see these big rigs going down there. I mean, it's posted 45. They're wanting to go 60. I'm going to tailgate this. Okay. Well, I'm going to go down even slower. Now what are you going to do?
The thing that's so important, and the reason that I'm doing this show is because, and the reason I'm going to continue to keep doing it every Tuesday, is going to be Trucker Tuesday. So you guys call back in, you guys be involved in the community, and let's get some awareness going about this. Because the reason I'm doing the show is because a lot of people found out they were non-essential employees over this last year. And so the truckers are the last group of people, some of the last group of people who haven't trained their replacements. Many people have trained their replacements in other countries when the work's been moved out of the country. Okay, we went and trained our replacements.
Right.
Okay, so the last trades that there are, the last bastions of actual, you know, productivity are trucking and construction. And these are the last two areas that have not been fully infiltrated by robotics.
They haven't been outsourced, yeah.
Right.
Because it's not possible to outsource it, because you're always going to have an element of human power, you know, in order to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. And with the trucking industry, I mean, transportation, yeah, it's worldwide, it's global, it's this, it's that, blah, 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 you know. But essentially, when you got boots on the ground, you know, we're bringing the vital items from point A to point B so that, you know, the people that are producing products can put those products into motion in order to be consumed or being able to be, you know, part of the economy. And so without truckers moving things around, how is my machine operator who needs certain parts made at a different facility in a different state in a different part of the country going to keep his machines operating so that he can produce what he needs to produce, you know, without a trucker to bring it to him in a timely fashion? You know, that's really bottom line.
I'm with you. I agree 100%. I don't want truckers to go away. But what I will say is that, like, there are forces at work who would say that, okay, well, why can't we just have an 1,100-foot dirigible that flies around and has these drones deliver right to people's doorsteps, and skip the middleman, and just, you know, we'll leave from a distribution center in Las Vegas.
Fine. There's a niche for it. I'm not totally against it. I mean, when it comes to drones and stuff like that, yeah, there's a niche for that, you know, but it's more on a localized level. And, you know, it can, you know, serve a purpose, and there could be some, you know, pros in it. But when it comes to the bigger picture, we keep America moving.
I 100%
keep
agree.
this economy alive.
I can't believe, you know what's fascinating to me right now is because in talk radio, okay, there's a couple of issues, I mean, across the board that will inflame audiences. One of them's abortion, okay, another one's immigration. If you talk about abortion or immigration and open up the phones, people are going to call in. But I can't believe out of the whole universe, you found Epic Journeyman. You found a hot button issue for truckers, man. This AI shit is pissing them off, man.
Well, it should. It should.
Well,
it's just like those damn electric cars. I mean, they're useless. You could only go so many miles, and then it controls your speed and all this whatever, blah blah blah. And then you got to sit in your vehicle for God knows how many hours until the thing is fully charged again, so you can go another whatever, about 200, 300 miles. And then what happens if there's no electrical charge thing to plug your car in? I mean, but everybody thinks it's the hot fad. Oh, it's a fad. It's okay. Deal with your fad. I really don't care.
I know. Well, you know what?
It's like, it's common sense.
Check out the brilliance of it, though. So now I got you to pay $60,000 for this car that's basically running off electricity. It drives by itself. I got you to pay $60 for it. And now you're going to go sit somewhere for 2 hours. What are you going to do? Now, if you're the type of person who can pay $60 for a car, then when you're sitting at the shopping center where that charger is, what are you doing?
You're on your phone.
You're shopping, man. You're spending money inside those stores.
You got your face in the black hole. Your phone, your iPad,
they're shopping,
whatever the hell it is, your computer.
They're shopping.
You're consuming.
Exactly.
Consuming.
Boom. Perfect. That's exactly what you're doing. So
but
like,
see, what truckers do though is we don't just bring food and medicines and stuff. We bring, moving automobile parts, to manufacturing. I mean, I haul a lot of manufacturing parts.
There's nothing more. There's nothing more important in this country than trucks, and that's why we're doing the show. I mean, all of these things we're talking about tonight, we're going to continue this conversation next week. Now, listen, who's your daddy's on the line? He's driving, and he's in West Texas, I think. Who's your daddy? Are you there in West Texas driving? What are you doing tonight?
I am here.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
I'm on the Permian Basin. Where are you at?
Go ahead. Go ahead. We didn't hear what you said.
I stick to I-10.
I-10. So you're on the 10. So what do you go into California at all? You're just up and back and forth on the 10 in Texas.
God no, I stay in the freedom section of the country.
The free zone.
So you're a regional driver, then. You're dedicated runs within the state of Texas.
I'm a third type of driver. I've done hot shot. I've done, which I'll go ahead and just lump you in with hot shot, even though it's banned. I've done LTL, which I'm doing now, and over the road for a lot of years. So yeah, I've been around in the industry, and something that you brought up earlier, and it was the biggest reason I finally called in. Team driving, is one of the single worst experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, tell me
because I didn't drive with a fellow professional. I was driving with trainees. I was teaching brand new CDL holders what to do to not become a steering wheel holder, how to use an atlas, how to navigate tight situations, how to park, everything. How to bump a dock. It was a nightmare.
Hey,
20-hour days,
Hey, have you guys ever heard of a guy called Trucker Wally?
Not I.
All right.
No, not me either.
Here, I got a clip from Trucker Wally. Let's take a listen.
On I-80, be sure to stop in and see us at Donna's Ranch. That's right, drivers, Donna's Ranch on Channel 19, known as the Blue Fox. Hey, if it's Wells, we can take care of it right here in Wells. That's right, that's our motto at Donna's Ranch. Hey, Donna's Ranch is the only place in Nevada where you can get steamed, dreamed, and creamed all in one shot. That's Donna's Ranch, home of the
we
Blue
can take
Fox.
care of it here in Wells? Is that what he just said?
Let me play it back. Hold on. Donna's Ranch.
It's a reference to a cat house in Wells, Nevada.
Is it really?
I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. Here we go. This is Trucker Wally, Truck Stop Comedy. Here you go.
Hey, Donna's Ranch is the only place in Nevada where you can get steamed, dreamed, and creamed all in one shot. That's Donna's Ranch, home of the Blue Fox. Donna's Ranch, you'll love us, and we take American Express card.
Laugh along with comedy bits like National Bull Haulers.
Hi, drivers. Are you tired of driving a slow truck? Yes, would you like to drive one of those 100-mile-an-hour rigs? Well, come on out and see us at the National Bull Haulers Association. Yes, the National Bull Haulers Association can put you in one of those big fancy Peterbilts. Hey, we can put you in some of those trucks that blow everybody off the road. When you sign up for the National Bull Haulers Association, we'll have you in one of those trucks that you...
It's Trucker Tuesday. I'm sitting here with Robin, Way Cool Snoopy, Trucker Gerald, and Who's Your Daddy, plus Epic Journeyman. And now, here's the Grateful Dead.
When life looks like easy street, there is danger at your door. Think this through with me. Let me know your mind. Whoa, what I want to know is, are you kind? It's a buck dancer's choice, my friends. Better take my advice. You know all the rules by now, and the fire from the ice. Will you come with me? Won't you come with me? Whoa, what I want to know. Will you come with me?
This is Aftermath.fm. I have one more song I want to play, and I'm doing it specifically for Robin, because I know you like this song, Robin. This song's for you, Robin. Here you go.
Long distance runner, what you standing there for? Get up, get on, get out of the door. You're playing cold music on the barroom floor. Drowning your laughter and dead to the core. There's a dragon with matches that's loose on the town. Drink a whole pail of water just to cool him down. Well, fire on the mountain.
It's Aftermath.fm's Trucker Tuesdays. Give us a call. 626-999-4761. I forgot our phone number for a second. 626-999-4761, because all I'm thinking about is a cigarette. That's why. 626-999-4761. Hold on. Can't hear you. Stand by. Hold on. I gotta put Jerry back in his coffin. There you go.
Jerry, we love Jerry.
We did. Jerry
I love
was
Fire on the Mountain.
It was.
But I think though, I'm sorry. I think though that we, as truckers, it's important that even on a one-on basis, when we encounter people and stuff, whether they're commercial drivers or not, that we help to educate people about the art of driving. You know, because it's so important. Because your life is valuable. It's priceless. You know, and I see people drive so irresponsibility. It doesn't matter whether it's a commercial or non-commercial. And, I mean, this is your life, you know, and it's just a means. It's just a road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your exit's not going to disappear. It'll be there. So stop cutting off the big. I mean, I give my big wheelers, man, the ultimate respect. I give them the ultimate room. You know, I'm at least 2 cars behind you guys, you know, length. And I never cut you guys off because I don't know whether you're fully loaded, empty, or half loaded, because you guys cannot drop at a dime. You know, you just cannot.
We got a new caller. I think it's 517. Who are you? Where are you calling from? Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hello. You're on the air.
Hey.
Hey.
Wow.
Wow. What's going on? Excellent. Glad you called.
I've been listening to your show now, and I'm also a professional driver.
Oh, excellent, man. Well, welcome in. Thanks for calling.
Whoa, dude, I'm seriously freaked out a little bit here, man.
Why is that?
Because I've never called into a show.
Well, there you go, man. First time for everything.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, man. No problem.
Hey, all you professional drivers that are running the big rigs, kudos.
Yeah, man.
I'm an expediter. I run a Mercedes Sprinter van.
Oh, sweet, man. How do you like those things, man? Because those things are expensive. What is it, like 70 grand for those things?
And it depends on what year you buy. You buy used ones that have had good maintenance, you're okay.
So
only problem is when they break down,
yeah,
nobody wants to touch them.
Yeah.
But anyhow, to these big rig drivers, especially the first guy you had on the show,
Gerald, Trucker Gerald.
Trucker Joe.
Yeah,
cats like that.
He's still here.
I have the.
You still here, Trucker Gerald? I think he's there. I see him on the call. Well, anyways, go ahead.
Cats like that, I have the utmost respect for. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these new little kids on the block. But they can't even back them up.
I know, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm listening to this lady. She sounds. By the way, I'm a retired chef.
Oh, nice.
Did 30 years as a chef.
Sweet.
I do literally between 32 and 4,600 miles a week.
That's good.
And I oh my God, it's
Man, I gotta say, I am so happy that you guys are, that you 5 people tonight have found each other here on the phone and here on the show, because I think you guys have all talked about stuff, as a group that you don't even, this is what's so fantastic is you guys could be all going in your rigs and your trucks and your vans in different directions, and we could all be sitting here having a conversation like this. This is absolutely blowing my mind, and I can't thank you guys enough for calling up, and helping, to get the show off the ground. I really appreciate everything. I hope you guys call back next Tuesday, too. So did you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask these guys? There's millions of miles, but it sounds like you have a few tales of your own. Is there any harrowing experiences you guys like to share with us tonight? We got about 10 minutes left.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
3 years ago, running through Pennsylvania, there was a guy with a car hauler. Didn't use his blinker, didn't do anything. Put 4 of us in the median.
Oh, wow.
I will fully admit I was overloaded as far as weight.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to die, and I went. Ah! But anyway, what you see every day is automobiles disrespecting professional drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, semis have the right of way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And as far as I'm concerned, us expediters, we're doing a service. We run, or at least myself, I run Ford, GM, Chrysler, Mercedes, Toyota, all the automotive places. I run. Oh my God! I ran a couple of years ago. I ran a load of teriyaki seasoning to a place in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But people just need to learn to respect professional drivers.
I think so too. That's the thing is, people don't even, like earlier we were talking to Gerald and he said it took 120 feet for a truck, 18-wheeler going 60 miles an hour down the freeway. It comes to 120 feet to come to a complete stop. So how would anybody in their right mind pulling out in front of a truck and trying to get smart and, jam on their brakes or whatever it is that they do to get smart with you guys?
Right.
So
you got to give them a lot of berth. Give them a lot of berth because, it's like they just can't stop on a dime.
No.
They just cannot.
No. Did you want
to next Tuesday? For next Tuesday, I'm thinking we were talking about exit number 2. We didn't get to like how Coast to Coast became what it is and all those things in the first place. All the strange things that happened to you in those boring times along those long miles of road.
Yeah, man. What about that? Do you guys got any? Have you seen anything unexplained in the air or around or,
Oh my God! A couple of months ago, I was headed to the East Coast. I was going to South Carolina to the coast, and this was so bizarre. It was getting towards morning, and there was something coming from the west to the east. And at first, I thought it was maybe a meteorite, but the cloud that kept coming off it was going in the wrong direction. Should have had a tail. It was pushing forward.
Interesting.
The
Oh, that's
cloud
cool, like a
coming off
retro
it.
rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. I didn't even tell my dispatcher about it.
You didn't want
I
to.
thought,
I mean,
I'm keeping that to myself.
Yeah, it's like being a pilot. Pilots don't like to talk too much about what they see. But what about you guys?
Just so you know, I'm former military also.
Oh, are you?
I did 4.5 years.
What branch?
I did Marine Corps.
Nice. Semper Fi.
I did.
Do or die.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did a little over 18 months at a nuclear weapons facility. Then I got sent out to California. 6 months later, I got sent to Nicaragua.
Oh, wow.
That shit was during the Reagan years.
Yeah. Well, that was an important time down in South America during the Reagan years, wasn't it?
That's a whole show or two.
Yeah. Well, maybe when we do that show, we should have you come back and talk a little bit about being down in Nicaragua during those times. But
well, I sent.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. I sent somebody an email from your website.
Oh, you did?
And
I'll give you my
like
email.
I said,
I'll give you my email directly. Okay,
you can send it back to me. But like I said, this is the first time I've ever called.
I've
been meaning to call into Clyde Lewis.
Well, there you go. Well, you worked it out. You worked it out in the weeds over here with us. Now you're ready for prime time, bro. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to call Clyde. Don't be afraid to call Clyde. You call over here, work out the kinks, and then once you feel like you're ready, you call Clyde. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, feel free to give us a call any night. We open the phones every night at midnight. But I'm glad you called tonight about truck. Go ahead.
I do most of my driving at night.
Sweet.
And so I listen to you guys.
Nice.
Every night.
Excellent.
I listen to Clyde Lewis every night that I can.
Me too.
I pretty much gave up on George Norrie.
Well, you know what I do when I'm going on long drives?
George Snorri.
When I'm going on long drives, I download some podcasts, man. I figure out how many hours I'm going to be driving, and then I get myself 3 or 4 choice podcasts that I know that by the time I'm done listening to that shit, I'll be where I'm going. And it's like I'm sitting at home, you know. I sit there, I watch, I think, I'm watching, I'm scanning, but I'm listening just like when I'm at home listening to the radio or whatever. So I mean, it's and I'm sitting on a fat couch, you know, with going smooth down the road, not hearing a sound except for my music, you know. And then all of a sudden I hear.
So you know, I'm kind of technologically declined.
Well, I mean, you know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not super good with computers.
Well, that's what's good. That's one of the reasons people get into driving and working in construction, because they don't want to work with that stuff. They just want to work with their hands. They want to use their head. They want to do stuff that everybody, you know, somebody just want to jump in and drive a truck. They don't want to go, learn how to work a computer. But I mean, I think those days are starting to be gone, because, you know, these trucks, like I was saying earlier, they look like you're in the cockpit of a 747, man.
I'd like to see inside of one of these days.
Well, you should go. I mean,
just to see.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll be able to, because if we keep doing this, I think a community is going to grow out of it. And if you guys tell your friends that also drive, that we're doing this on Tuesday nights, and give them the number. Just give them the number. It's the same number every week.
Quick question. How long have you been on the air with this show?
6 years or so. So we just,
How the hell did I find it until just like a month or so ago?
Well, because we just came to Aftermath. Yeah, we've only been on Aftermath for a month, but we've been on a few other networks, and we're on YouTube. You can find us over there, too. All our shows are there. We do YouTube shows. Every show we do, we're live on YouTube at the same time. So it's Into the Microcosm with Jimmy G, and Strike Zone is the YouTube channel that we're on. If you ever want to check it out.
Jimmy G is that?
Jimmy Gene, G-E-N-E.
Jimmy G is that?
Mm-hmm.
Spell the last name again?
G-E-N-E, Jimmy Gene.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And there's a whole archive of other shows just on the regular Into the Microcosm of Jimmy Gene channel.
Yeah, so
that we just can't live stream on right now. But there's hundreds of shows.
Yeah, on the other channel, on our main channel, we're on a strikeout on there right now, so we can't be on there. But there's also podcasts that are exclusive over on Aftermath. So if you're a member of Aftermath, then you get the podcasts that we do that we put over there that nobody else gets anywhere else on the free stuff. So it's always a good, if you're a member, you can always go over there. Every Thursday there'll be a new podcast there. Plus we're here Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m., 10:30 Pacific, till 5 minutes from now till 1. So we got 5 minutes left. You truckers, any other truckers on this call, have you seen anything weird? You seen any flying saucers, man? You seen little green men, shadow people? Roads that fall off into nowhere.
Sorry, I had to laugh. I hear people laughing in the background. That makes me laugh.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what I mean. I've been driving. I've driven lots of miles, nothing close to anything you guys are doing, but I've never seen shit. Okay, I've never seen anything that I would consider a UFO or a flying saucer or anything that I think is, if I see a little white dot in the sky flying by, I could care less about it. Who gives a shit? It's a little white light flying in the sky thousands of miles away from me or hundreds of miles away from me. I can't see in the window. I don't know what's in there. It's just a light. I don't get excited by that shit. I need to see.
Well, some of those are just satellite lights too. When you see them kind of moving, kind of back and forth, kind of slowly, they're just satellites up in the stratosphere there. And so, I think a lot of people mistake those for, something that it's not. They're just satellites. I mean, there's billions of satellites up there. My God,
Well,
but yeah, I've never seen anything unusual in the night sky or even in the day sky, so I can't speak to that.
What about you, Snoopy? You see anything?
No, I confess. I've seen some weird stuff in Nevada before. So, you guys were talking about like 395 earlier and things like that. I've ran across Nevada and I've seen some weird shit in Nevada. There's no question about that. I don't know what it was, and so I'm.
Did you ever see him?
I'll probably err on the side. I'd probably err on the side of it being something governmental or whatever. But I've seen some crazy stuff in Nevada before.
Have you ever seen Have you ever seen a blue fox in Nevada?
No, I don't think I have.
I think I have.
I've ran up.
That was a reference.
So I've ran up 395, and I've ran across 80, and I've ran across 15, and some of the other big thoroughfares in Nevada. And I will say that if I'm going to see weird things, that usually they'll be in Nevada.
Well, yeah, that's.
I don't get out there a whole lot now.
That's what I was making reference to earlier. They said that the blue fox brothel was out there, and so I was seeing if you'd ever stop by where was it? Wendover.
Wells. It was what? It was
Wells. We could handle it in Wells.
The clip you were just playing before was Wells.
Yeah,
Nevada.
Wells. Well, there's a place.
And
did you know there's a place called Wendover, Nevada, which is the last place you can gamble before you go into Utah? It's called Wendover. Have you ever been there?
Yes, that's yes, I know exactly where it is. It's mile marker like 395 or 400 or something.
They
yes,
should
I
change.
know right where it's
they
at.
should change the name of that place to Bendover, because that's where all the chumps go. That's where the chumps go lose their last $50 before they go back to
Bendover,
Utah.
Nevada, instead of Wendover.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's Wendover, and then it's Wells, and then I forget the town.
Yeah.
But Battle Mountain.
Yeah, that's where people.
there's
That's
a
where
few
you
other
go.
ones across there.
You're in Utah. You want to go gambling and drinking. You go over to Wendover. You're coming through. You're coming through Nevada, going to Utah. You stop in Wendover.
Yeah.
Everybody throws their last $50 they got to throw away in Wendover, and Wendover is a black hole of everyone's last $50.
And that's funny that you call that Bendover. I like that.
Our show just ended on Aftermath, man. I didn't say goodnight, but we ran out of time. You guys kicked ass, you truckers.
Thanks, guys.
You guys were great.
Jimmy, you kick ass too.
You guys were great, man. That was a great show. Seriously, I want to keep doing it. So if you guys will keep calling back, I'll keep doing it.
We'll keep calling back.
Okay.
I will anyway.
Excellent.
I'll call back too.
Okay,
when
great.
I'm available, because sometimes I'm driving at night.
Yeah.
But when I'm available, I'll call in.
All right. Well,
and thanks Brandy Lou for the heads up.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And so you'll know we'll be doing it on Tuesday nights, so you'll know if you'll be able to or not. So this is going to be Tuesday every week.
No, 100%. I'll always try to call in, Jimmy.
All right, yeah, and then you guys can pass out that, like I say, if you got buddies that are truckers or whatever, you want to pass out that number, you can do it. And then,
100%.
Yeah, once we start getting the ball rolling, once people start knowing they can call in, and we're talking about this stuff, then they'll start calling in, man. So if you guys help us do that, that'd be great. That's way better than sending us.
Absolutely.
It's way better than doing anything you could possibly do, like sending us $1 or whatever. I mean, it's way better if you got somebody to call in the show. Be excellent. We'd really appreciate it.
No, absolutely.
May I say one last thing before we go?
Please.
Go, Jimmy, when you have a moment.
Yeah, please.
I just want to say that, we live in a beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty about trucking, is we get to see some of the most beautiful, beautiful country. I mean, there's just so much land. I mean, it's just beautiful. America is a beautiful country when you're thinking of it from a geographical point of view. And I drive through some of the most beautiful places. Sometimes I don't even know how I end up on certain roads, because I like to go on the roads less traveled,
Yeah.
the back roads, but I still get to where I need to go, in a timely fashion. And I mean, and there's a lot of beautiful people in America too. Not everybody is what you're seeing on mainstream media. You got a lot of beautiful people, just hardworking people, families, single people, whatever, and they're just living their lives, And so I just wanted to throw that out. That's the beauty of trucking, is we get to see a lot of beauty.
And you guys are some of the last of the independents. I mean, it's like it's like a motorcycle rider. Somebody rides a motorcycle, typically they're on the motorcycle by themselves. I mean, maybe they're going to have somebody on the back occasionally, but motorcycle riders are typically people that like to just be independent by themselves. And the same thing with truckers. I think, I could see a Harley Davidson next to a big rig, and I probably think that the same person would be able on both of them. Just because that's a kind of a spirit, I mean, I can imagine them being on a horse and pulling a wagon train. Pulling a wagon.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah, we're the drivers.
Yeah.
And it's those people that will
Driving that
coalesce. And that's how it's those people that will coalesce, and that's how we get through this.
Mm-hmm.
So she's 100% right on. She's nailed it.
And you guys can't. I mean, nothing. Like I said at the beginning of the show, nothing moves without trucks. And literally, people don't realize how far away their shit actually comes from. I mean,
right.
They just go to the store and it's there. They didn't realize, there's like 4 different people drove it there from across the country. All right, you guys.
And that's where that's where we as individual truckers come in and we educate people. It's like I'll be standing in a truck stop line waiting to get my coffee or something, and somebody will start saying something, and I'll be like looking at them, and because I'm a straight shooter, I'll just tell you like it is. I really don't care what you think about me because that's none of my concern.
Right.
But it's kind of like, well, guess what? It took a trucker to get that, and guess what? Truckers feed everybody. We're putting food on your table. Okay, because we're moving all the products so that you can have a job, okay, so that you can make a living, so that you can pay your mortgage, pay your car payment, put clothes on your children's back. It all comes bottom line, truckers, because we're moving everything, and without us, you wouldn't be able to have that cell phone, or you wouldn't be able to have that automobile, or you wouldn't be able to have that nice leather jacket you're wearing, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, or your medicine, or whatever. We're moving it all. And so, we make sure everything gets to where it needs to be in a safe manner and a professional manner, and then we just go on to the next one. You know what I mean? We just go on to the next load. That's it,
So
that's the bottom line.
Everybody give them
100%.
Give them a break and give them a little space, and don't cut in front of people, man. It's not nice. All right.
Yeah, don't tailgate us either.
We got to get out of here, man. I got to go get something to eat.
Don't cut in front of anybody.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, guys. That
Thanks,
was great.
everybody.
Jimmy,
I appreciate it.
Epic journey, man. I love you guys.
And Epic, too. Epic, you brought up some great points, too.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Excellent. Thanks, man.
I will be back next Tuesday for sure.
Sweet.
If not before.
Who's your daddy? Are you still there? Give us a.
I am here.
Give us a.
You can't get rid of me without a stick.
All right. Well, give us your parting thoughts before we head out with some JJ Kill.
Well, I would just love to see this take off, and I think you guys are going to get the formula just perfect. We've got to figure out something that Epic hasn't figured out before. We got to stump Epic, and I think Trucker Tuesday is going to be the night.
Yeah, man.
It's not that hard.
Well, he already figured out how to inflame you guys, man. He inflamed you beyond recognition. So we know there's a hot button.
Hell, he knows a lot more about thorium physics than or fission rather than I ever gave him credit for. So he's going to be a tough one to stump.
He is, but I mean, you guys are going to stump him, man. I have a feeling. All right, you guys ready? Let's get out of here.
You will.
Thanks. Who's your daddy?
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good
Big
night.
hugs.
Take
Later.
care.
All right, good night. Good night, everybody. I love you guys.
Take care.
He's loving Hollow Point.
All right, all my drivers.
There you go.
Be safe.
All right, Gerald. Thank you a million, brother. You got a parting word?
Hey, by the way.
Peace. Got it, man. Take care. Thanks a million.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you gonna come back next week?
Yeah, hell yeah. We'll
Okay,
come back
excellent.
next week just because this is my first time ever.
Yeah.
And I was a little freaked out, man.
Well, make sure you come back, and don't forget, you can call tomorrow night too. We're gonna have Steve Coyne Slow News Day. It's What the Fuck Wednesday tomorrow night. It's What the Fuck Wednesday.
I'll listen.
Excellent.
I'll listen to tomorrow night's show and see what the heck it's all about.
It's great, man. I'll talk to you then.
You put great shows on.
Thanks, bro. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
I heard the other night somebody saying that you're the next Art Bell.
They were saying that? I didn't hear that, but that's a compliment. Thank you, man. Whoever said that, wow.
I'm just saying, you guys were the next Art Bell.
Thanks.
And I'm thinking, I like Art Bell.
Me too. I liked him, man. He's the whole reason I got into radio. I love Art Bell. Yeah, man. He's a mentor to a lot of people, including me.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
All right. Peace out. We got to go. I got to get something to eat, and I definitely got to. I can't smoke in this studio, so I got to go outside and have an after show cigarette. So you guys.
I'll go bugger off. Get a smoky.
All right. Well, here we talk. You guys.
Oh, I-20 truck stop. You can still smoke in it.
I-20.
Alabama.
There you go. Put a shout out.
I-20 truck stop in Alabama. You can still smoke in it.
Badass.
And the lady that's on there, tell her, nice.
All right.
Rock it out.
All right, you guys. JJ Kale. We're out of here.
Yeah.
loves in a